Jesus Christ. And the obligatory check that's all audible. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Undergods, an ongoing epic D&D adventure. Yes, that is worthy of silent screams. So my name is Chloe. I am your dungeon master for this afternoon. And before we get into the game proper, a few bits and pieces. So thank you for joining us. Obviously, if you are someone who has followed Undergods so far, you'll notice that things are a bit different. Obviously, Adventures Wanted sadly came to an end last month. And so there are a few changes. We are no longer sponsored by Hero Forge, D&D Beyond, Ultra Pro. However, we are still very much supported by the wonderful Thornless Rose, and we will be giving away a beautiful set of dice. You can't quite see the sparkliness there, but also a beautiful handmade luck token. I'm doing a terrible job of showing this off. This is some of the astonishing handmade work that Thornless Rose does. It's so pretty. And it reminds you when you actually have luck to use, so that you don't forget the stuff that you can do whilst you're playing a game. And that is a big mood for basically everyone. So all you have to do is get into the chat and say hi to be in with a chance of winning those lovely goodies. We can only send them to UK addresses. I'm so sorry. But hey, if you don't have a UK address, maybe you have a friend who does. Maybe you want to win some stuff and then send it their way as a really lovely surprise. Who knows? Obviously, one of the bigger differences, you could just send it to Griff. Just send it to Griff. One of the bigger differences is that Chris is unfortunately no longer playing in this game. However, they wish us all the best. Sorry to anyone who is hoping to get to know Jumi a little bit better. Jumi will still be a part of the story, but you will have to watch to see what happens. So we are, however, still going to be telling an epic story. We'll still probably see Tender be a bit rubbish or awkward. We'll still hear Polaris ask for the money that he's still not been given. We'll still probably see Phoebe set something on fire, and we'll still probably see Aware be a mix of like actually quite protective and lovely, but also kind of terrifying. So do not worry, those elements still very much in play. So for anyone who might be unfamiliar with D&D, this is how it works. The people to my left or my right, depends how you're watching this, I'm not quite sure, but the other people who are here play fantasy characters in a fantasy universe. They each have unique characters with things that they're good at, things they're not good at. They play those characters and I play the rest of the world, the people that they know and the places they go and the ships that they board and the magical items they steal, all that kind of stuff. Whenever anyone tries to do something that might require a bit of skill or a bit of luck, normally they roll one of these, a d20. A 20 is good, a 1 is bad, and everything else is on some kind of scale in between. And they'll be kind of adding for the things that they're extra good at, subtracting for the things they're not so good at. And between describing things, role-playing stuff, improvising dialogue and such like, and rolling dice, we come up with a story. Additionally, here at Roll Flip Draw, we play with a diverse group of players who play a diverse set of characters with a wide range of sexual and gender identities. This is a trans-positive channel. We encourage and champion trans players and characters in our games. Myself and the players might portray characters that aren't the same gender as ourselves, and we aim to avoid misgendering. However, it can happen, and we have a policy in place for correcting it. If we miss an instance, though, feel free to say in chat. And we will let us know if you think one's been missed. We also use pause cards during play if everyone wants to show their pause card, or I think Tom has a tie, a yellow tie, and Griff has Griff has a hand. However, if any of us hold up what is our pause card during play, that just means we will take a short break, just check in with everyone, make sure everyone's okay. So we use those if there's something that's stopping us from feeling comfortable or engaging with the game, or if we are concerned, like if Tom does that face again, basically, or if we are worried that there's something stopping someone else from feeling comfortable or engaging with the game. So also, this is going to run for about 3 hours. It might go to 5:30. It slightly depends on the choices of the people here, but it will also be recorded and uploaded to the Roll Flip Draw YouTube channel afterwards if there's anything that you miss or if you have to head off before we finish. There will also be like a 5-10 minute break somewhere in the middle. And hello to I have no idea how you say this, Chawar Draylock. Lovely to have you here and excited to show you what Undergods is all about. So yes, one final thing about Thornless Rose. If you use the code Undergods10, you get 10% off at the store. And it's really cool. It's genuinely the first store that I've actually like waited for the timer to hit and the dice to get released so that I could get myself a D20 that looks like a gelatinous cube with like little bits of people in it. Really cool store. So do check them out. And by the end of the channel, by the end of the stream, we'll put that link in chat as well, so you know where to go. I'm going to do a quick story recap, and then we're going to get to know who these lovely people are. So if you're joining kind of near the end of this campaign, but do not fear. These characters that everyone here is playing are Undergods. They have been endowed with special abilities unique to them because they are the descendants of gods. However, that's become a bit murkier and a bit more confusing as the game's gone on. There's been some stuff about being reincarnations. There's been some stuff about other gods. But they were brought together because of these powers and these abilities to stop a group who they've discovered are a small selection of immortals who it seems want to use a country-spanning teleportation circle to send this land back in time so that they can see the people that they're never going to see again, so that they can relive the moments that are lost to them forever, so that they can deal with what is essentially the curse of living forever. However, that's not necessarily a great plan for everyone else, and so everyone here is doing what they can to stop that and have amassed an interesting selection of allies from one of those immortals themselves to a very kind of socially awkward adolescent dragon, for one. So that's where we are. We're going to rejoin them on the Lichtenberg, having just stolen a magical item so that they can do some important magic of their own. But let's get some introductions from everyone, starting with David. And we'll try going in alphabetical order as much as we can remember. Tell us a little bit about your character and also your pronouns and their pronouns.
My name is David Alwyn. I use he, him pronouns, and I play Tender Lovinkir, who is also uses he, him pronouns, and is a tiefling, formerly an adventurer with their partner, who with whom they had a child. I was going to say a teenage child. They didn't have a teenage child. They had a child that is now teenage. And has failed miserably to connect with them on an emotional level, and pretty much everybody else around him as well, whilst also being a bard who thinks that they're part of a much better adventuring party who are going to have his back, and basically is constantly just falling down.
Yeah, that's fair. And don't forget, you've got a Rorschach-style diary who loves you very much.
That's true, and I may be a reincarnation of the god of destruction and chaos. So that's also something that Tender's dealing with.
Yeah.
Tender is the descendant of the god of empathy.
Yeah. I can't remember if G or H comes first. G.
Hi, I'm alphabetically next. I'm Griff, and my pronouns are they, them. I'm playing a character who is currently called Aware because their name is unpronounceable. If you can't change the color of your skin, it will. Aware, the last time we saw Aware was, I genuinely have forgotten what animal they were, if anybody. Was I a crab? Or a rat?
I think a rat.
A rat. Right, I was a rat because there was the giant crab and we didn't want the little crab to upset the giant crab. That's why. There are reasons, logic, sometimes. Where is probably on the bridge at the moment, probably in their base form as a changeling, which is actually actually exceedingly rare to date. This is the first time they've actually been out and about in their own skin, as it were, which is a new experience for them because it involves things like trust and feeling people won't kill you for who you are. Aware is also wearing rose-tinted glasses, which are an artifact left from a former party member called Wrath, who was also a changeling. And is currently carrying a very, very magical item, which we have just had a fantastic heist for in their last episode. So they're feeling very good about themselves, very positive at the moment.
Good.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I use she, her pronouns, and so does my character Phoebe, who is on her first big adventure out. She is a cleric, and a cleric of her dad god, who is named Scala, who is the god of truth and beauty and light. Think Apollo, but not really. She has come up with an extraordinarily convoluted plan, which everybody seems to have jumped on, which is great, to try and help stop the end of the world, or like the rewinding of time, and has a tendency when stressed to set things on fire or do necrotic damage or sulk because she's a teenager. And is actually kind of starting to figure out who she is outside of the confines of her previous home.
Nice. And the pirate?
Sorry. My name is Tom. I use he, him pronouns, and so does my character Polaris. Polaris is if you like, a humanoid mass of water, as in, he's a water genasi or water genie, who, if you would picture him as I say, just a load of water that happens to have taken the shape of a humanoid, that is him. He can't undo that. He is permanently like that. But it has been established many times that he doesn't have any bones. But he's still pretty strong because he's a fighter and an Eldritch Knight, if you like, your D&D subclasses, which means he can cast magic, because that's not the only thing he's got up his sleeve, because as an undergod, he is descended from the god of contrast. And is it contrast and change? Is it, Chloe?
It's contrast, power and resistance, I think.
Thank you. Contrast, power and resistance, which means that poor old Polaris, when he was very young, when he lived under the sea with his people, he manifested the first of his undergod powers, which turned out that the best contrast with him was apparently being able to shoot lightning from his hands. And so he had uncontrollable masses of electricity pouring from him at all times, and he very quickly had to leave his people who live under the sea, and has been on the surface ever since. It's still not safe, as his fellow party members found out, still not safe to be in water near him at any time now. So he got as close to the sea as he could and became a ship's, we worked on ships, and eventually became a successful ship's captain, eventually becoming a pirate, and eventually a privateer, working under a letter of marque in the service of Nikara, the island that we're all trying to desperately save now. And one thing led to another and led to his service being engaged by the tree. He sort of de facto became the leader of this group when he didn't really want that, because he'd have to be being paid the higher rate, which he is not yet being paid. But he is still de facto taking that leadership role, because somebody needs to make decisions sometimes around here, and that was a problem in earlier sessions. Mm-hmm. More recently, he in fact is the person who connected them with the lovely heist that happened last session, was because he called in some old pirate contacts and found out about a particularly powerful item that they might be able to go and get. He's very pleased that his colleagues managed to get it, and we are at this juncture, I believe, moving towards getting on his ship, the Lichtenberg, which he has temporarily, or perhaps otherwise, relinquished command of to his first mate, Ethelda, who is now Captain Ethelda, who is now in charge of that ship. And he seemed rather pleased to see her, and she seemed pleased to see him. But I think that's about it. I guess the only other thing about Polaris is that it came out a little while ago that he is actually doing a voice. He doesn't actually talk in a pirate voice naturally, but implicitly, everyone who's met him, at least in this life,
the only person that he's used his real voice around is Nestori, the god that he is descended from.
Indeed.
So if you've kind of joined us at this juncture and it's sounding like that is a lot of information, like what you need to remember is there are some bad immortals out there who want to potentially destroy everything, and they need to be stopped. and these are the people to stop them. So loving the different levels of enthusiasm, confidence, and trust there. So with that, having been to Aonte, which is a series of shipwrecks within which a kind of a haven for privateers and pirates has been formed. Having been there, stolen an incredibly valuable item, you have made your way back to the Lichtenberg, which was moored or anchored some way out to avoid the dangerous shallows that first claimed these shipwrecks. You return. A ladder is thrown down. It's quite dark. It's almost pitch black, but there is still a kind of lit up beacon going from just above the crow's nest, where you had, via various different magical means, fashioned your own kind of signal to Ilsmedai, a dragon who is a good ally of yours. As you arrive, a ladder is thrown over the side, but I'm aware that the last time you all got onto this boat, there were a lot of different ways of getting on board. So I just want to see if you're all going to go ladder, or if some of you want to try and show off.
Taking the ladder.
Boris doesn't need to show off. He knows that he can do his cool way of getting up, which is just to like shake the water from the sea directly underneath him until it becomes a little rising platform, and it just effortlessly, and then he steps off it onto the thing. It's just how he gets on ships, not showing off at all.
Okay. Grand. So Polaris effortlessly, whilst Phoebe climbs the ladder.
I can't swim.
You've got
And
boots
fly,
that
though.
let you fly.
From an island.
Yeah, but it's like I'm not risking it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't want to risk that 10-foot flight. No. That's fair. That's fair. David, Griff?
Aware would do exactly the same, just straight up the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go up the ladder. Now is not the time for theatrics.
Mm-hmm. And Jumi, who is with you all, also follows up the ladder, still clad in her very bright and artificer heavy clothing. As you get onto deck, Etholda, the ship's captain and once first mate of Polaris, is standing there and just kind of gives a look to Polaris and a look over her shoulder to where there's a bloody big dragon on the deck of this ship.
Oh,
Hey!
they're with us.
Right, well, I'd assumed as much. Do you mind if they stop being... They take up a lot of room.
Oi. I kind of start walking towards Montana Jones.
The person who is definitely not Indiana Jones, yep.
Yep. And just kind of have my hands up like, welcome. Glad you saw the signal. But could you... I'm sorry, I don't know if there's a polite way, if there's a sort of a term I'm not supposed to use, but do you mind transforming? Is that maybe just get smaller?
As you try to find the right appropriate word, there's kind of like a shake of the wings, and this just magical shimmer that looks kind of like just bronze refraction over the body, and then again, this person who is not Indiana Jones TM, but looks very similar, kind of human, young human, masculine, but using they them pronouns, is stood in front of you. So I wanted to wait until people I knew were here. Hi.
Thanks for coming so quickly and for finding us.
Well, thanks, and looks at Tender. Thanks for the directions.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, you're the ones who know what to do.
Oi. Well, Phoebe.
Yeah, right. So,
Your plan. Go on.
Okay, so, right. We think we found a way to separate out your sibling from the egg.
Okay.
And for that reason, we need to go back to somewhere you haven't been yet, but it's fine. It's and basically we're going to separate your brother from the egg. We're going to we're going to separate your sibling from the egg. The egg's going to be separated, so both you and the Medusa Atoka get what they want out of it. And then we are going to do some henge related stuff, and we're going to stop the end of the world, and we'd like you to be a part of it. But first things first, we're going to get your sibling out of there.
Because that's the deal we made.
Yep. Do I have something to do with the end of the world?
Not unless you want to.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
We made a deal. If you want to go, you can go. But
No, I just wasn't expecting. I didn't realize that was. But okay, I'll. Well, I have. She tried to take, but I've got like gesturing to the pack, and you can guess that the she means Narisha, which is who you left Ilsmedai with.
Oh, we found out that she was maybe not one to be trusting with you, or that a little bit too late, I'm afraid.
Well, that's not all right. I mean, looks too aware. You said not to trust her, so I didn't.
Thank you. It's nice to have somebody listen.
Oi!
More than happy to. How long is it going to take to get to this place? I'm quite sorry. It was a lot of flying. I'm quite tired.
Oh, that's all right. Well, I believe under our current plans we'll be. Well, I'm not massively au fait with it. I've got better sea legs than I've got teleportation legs, but that was a joke, you see, because my legs are made of the sea. Look, I think we're going to be teleporting, so we can set out whenever we like. So if you need a bit of rest, then I think that would be. I glance at particularly the heisters and say, we've had quite an evening as well.
Yeah, I got drunk and then I got undrunk, and whoa, it was a lot.
Right.
Phoebe wasn't actually who I meant, but all right, yeah.
We all had a big day.
Etholda kind of comes over, having been on the edge of this conversation. Right. Well, so you want taken back to where we found yous? I mean, we can travel whilst you all are resting.
If that's the plan, because if we can get back there, we got someone there who can teleport-y things.
Right. Well, I mean, I'd rather do that than since I assume you got the thing you were searching for.
Yeah, just in case they decide to, make inquiries, it might be best to scarp her.
Exactly. So don't really want to stay right here like a big old duck. So, well, gestures to Polaris. I mean, you know where people sleep on here, so I assume I can leave that up to you.
Oi.
Right.
I'll make sure they don't take up too much space.
Can you roll insight, Tom? Just Tom.
Yeah. Ooh, dirty. No, it's not dirty. It's a 21.
You see, there's a little hesitation or uncertainty in Etholda's eyes, and with that 21, you know that she's not quite sure. Like, she's the captain, and she's going to sleep in the captain's quarters, but she feels a little bit odd and off, basically implying that you now sleep where the crew sleep, and she's not quite sure what is most appropriate.
Right. Polaris is like, Captain, this is your ship, Captain. Until such time as you decide that it's not. I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But right now, I mean, you know me. I spent 6 years below decks before I got my first chance to. Don't you worry about me.
Right. I won't then. With the 21, like, she worries about you a lot. So, but Ethelda turns on her heels and goes to basically talk to various members of the crew who start hoisting up the anchor, hauling anchor, and getting the sails ready and preparing to leave, and also just like calming a couple of them down about the dragon thing, and making sure that they feel okay. Like, Tom, I'm happy for you to do whatever kind of descriptions, etc. you want, because this is your ship.
Hey. Well, this is where I expose I don't know my orlop from my gun deck, but we're probably going to go somewhere towards the bottom, because that's where cargo, the bottom deck has the most cargo, and therefore, like, most likely to be space, given that there's not a huge amount of cargo here right now because we just docked. I don't know. But yeah, Polaris uses instincts that Tom definitely doesn't have. And he's very serious about it. He doesn't want to disrupt his old crew. He knows that it's important that you know, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, he gets hammocks rigged up for everybody where appropriate. Yeah, let's say we have a space that is, you know, one thing there isn't much of is privacy. That's not, you're not really going to get that on any deck. You can either be with a bunch of strangers and all of us separate, or we're all basically in a little, you know, no bigger than a large tent kind of space together. So those are the options.
I assume, is everyone kind of just following along with Polaris?
Is it that there is a space that you've set up for the party and then there's the crew, or are we in with the crew, or are those the options that you're talking about?
Yeah, as in, if any of us, I mean, we've all slept in the same space before, but it's a little bit intimate, sleeping in hammocks very close together. If anyone would not want to do that, the only other option really would be to go and do that, but with strangers. So Polaris would communicate that.
Yeah. So Aware would just follow along. The weirdest thing is being in their own body and having people know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have never really seen anything but Aware with a rod up their ass. Aware is like strutting. Like there's definitely a Billy Big Bollocks feel about Aware at the moment, because not only did the heist go well, when they came on board, they were like, "Hey, and my friend the dragon." Like, they think they're pretty much the coolest person alive right now. So, like, if anybody ever wants Aware to do anything, ask them now. This is the best mood you're ever going to see them in. But they're just following along, basically, kind of probably grinning like a fool.
So, Polaris leads you down a few decks, and there is an area set up with kind of some spare hammocks that are strung between different cargo boxes or upward struts of the ship. There's room enough for all of you to have your own hammock, and yeah, it's not private, but you at least have largely privacy from the rest of the crew. Like, there's no reason for anyone else to come down here at this current point. Is there anything that any of you want to do in terms of messages, any uses of magic, anything like that before you go to sleep?
I think. Go on.
Yeah, I feel like I messaged not long ago.
Can you be a bit more voluminous for me, David? You've gone a bit quiet again.
Voluming. How's that? There we go.
That's a bit better, thanks.
Yeah, I believe that I messaged my daughter not long ago. So in game time. So yeah, no, I think we're just gonna. I would like to. I'm gonna sit with Ilspodai, and just go over the plan and make sure that they are aware of the danger potentially.
Can you
like we're gonna do time stuff, hen stuff with this thing which is precious to you.
Can you roll me a straight charisma check? This is basically to see how well you do this in a way that is both informative but reassuring and not completely freaking Ilsmedai out.
I mean, it's a 22, so that's not bad.
Yeah, Ilsmedai, during this, Ilsmedai brings out the Heart of Beasts, this dragon egg that has, due to various magical mishaps, trapped both the soul of a Medusa and a dragon in it. I just go, okay, that... Fine. I trust you.
Okay. It's not about trusting us. It's just that we're going to be dealing with magics, time magics. So
You can't just trust magic though. You have to trust the people that are wielding it, right?
Your trust means a lot, but the point is, we made a deal. We're going to do the deal to the best of our ability, but there is no guarantee that this is going to work. So you've either got this object, and he kind of points at the Heart of Beasts, which I understand is better than nothing, but then we might end up with nothing. I just need to make sure that you know.
I know. I know. Like I say, I know you think it's not about people, but I trust you.
Good, because we're gonna do everything. We're gonna do everything we can.
Is there anything? If we're falling asleep, do you have anything that will protect it while we sleep? Should we do something like that?
Tender just kind of looks around and picks up a blanket.
Are you pretending this is anything more than a blanket, or are you literally just let's just out of sight, out of mind this?
No, he's just gonna tuck it in. He's gonna do the thing of like around the side of it and just stroke it on the top and just be like, there we go, safe as houses.
Just gonna roll. Okay.
Aware's gonna watch this procedure with exactly that look on their face, and then go, if you're looking for something a little more discreet, and then hold up their bag of holding.
Looks to Tender like this is very kind, thank you, but takes this, it's still swaddled, takes this over to the bag of holding and just kind of nods and places it inside.
Yeah, Aware will like flip the top of the blanket over so it's like enclosed in the blanket before it goes into the bag.
Yeah, you don't know what's in those things. Just sometimes, there's a lot of stuff in there.
I mean, there is a lot. I mean, I know what's in here because otherwise it doesn't work.
Okay, so it's safe.
There's a lot of stuff in here.
It's safe, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only way you'd find anything in here is if you knew to look for it and you didn't tell anybody you had this, right?
No, I mean the Narisha obviously knows, but I mean she's not going to be here, is she?
We don't know where Narisha's going to be.
We don't think it's going to go entirely smoothly. We know we're going to get where we're going, but Narisha and some others, they're going to stand in our way.
We can always maybe tell them we've hidden it, or we could create a decoy, because you don't know Aware that well. Why would Aware have the Heart of Beast in their bag of holding? So we could come up with something.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we can do that tomorrow, can't we?
Yeah, bedtime now, I think.
Okay. Thanks. And Ilsmadai is gonna just try to curl up in a hammock. I think you see these tiny little ripples of bronze where it's just actually slightly changing shape to just make the hammocking work better, just to make it easier to balance and fit in the hammock. But it's very slight, but out of the corner of your eye there's always this little kind of bronze ripple. Ilsmadai falls asleep like that. You technically have privacy. Is there anything you'd like to do before resting?
I just would like to raise, if we do use Celeste's one teleportation, wherever we go next, we'll be sitting ducks pretty much. So, I'm not. If anybody's got more experience with defense or planning, now that we've got something apart from ourselves, obviously, to defend, we've got three things. Well, two things in a person. Any ideas? I mean, Tender, you're the one who's been on big adventures before. You must have had.
Yeah. Well, I always find, back then, it was. I mean, I was really just the one who was there to kind of back up. I was doing a lot of spell casting stuff, and I could probably try and cast some spells or some. Do you want an ice knife?
I'm not gonna say no to an ice knife, but maybe we save it. But that sounds sick.
I've been through some stuff. We can go through this too. All right, just try not to set fire to everyone.
Okay.
Oi. Don't forget, a big part of what I can do is try and change energies, spells, and that while they're happening. I'll be certainly keeping my wits about me and trying to make sure if somebody blasts necrotic energy at you or something, I'll do what I can.
Thanks. I'm not so worried about me.
Do we think they're expecting us?
You're foolish not to, really. We've not exactly been subtle in our intentions. And they have lived for gods know how many years.
And Celeste's one of their siblings. Like, you get to know someone really well, you figure out their patterns of behavior, what they're likely to do. Like, I'm probably going to set something on fire. You're going to turn into something cool. Gestures at aware. You'll do your best. Gestures at Tender. It's just because they can't be killed. But we want to stop. I'm just worried about.
The plan is a good plan.
Okay. Phoebe. And it's your plan. They can't be killed, you're right, so why waste our time trying? All we gotta do is make sure they look at what's their features? The angry, with the
So basically we have to make friends.
Well, that might be something where Tender is actually pretty good at it.
Yeah. I've got one use of a banishment, so I could put someone somewhere else, but that's it.
Well, then we have to go find them and do it there anyway.
I know. Oh.
You all hear this kind of stamping from just above, and then this muffled, "Someone's trying to sleep!"
Sorry!
We should probably lay down.
Yeah. Let it, just...
We can overthink this whole thing, just saying,
Aye. We've got what we need to get it done. Let's leave it there for now.
So you all go to your individual... Oh, yes. Sorry, Tom.
If we're all going to sleep and then resting, Polaris would go to his hammock, and then I think he would lie awake for a bit, and I think he's thinking about kind of the conversation they've just had, the conversation they had with Ilsmadai, and he's, for the first time in quite a while, despite the close proximity, because everyone's kind of falling asleep, he's actually sort of alone with his thoughts, and he kind of weighs things up a little bit, and I think, he's just gonna slightly look around to make sure everyone's sleeping, and then pop out of his hammock and Chloe and just pop up to the captain's quarters and knock on the door.
Come in.
Captain.
Polaris.
Permission to Sorry, you said. Look, this. Can I get the door?
Absolutely, you can. Right, I've not seen you this nervous for a long time. I'm sorry, my accent is slightly weaving.
No, well, it's. I've just been thinking there's a lot about to happen. I mean, you just noticed the dragon land on your ship, and we were off making plans.
Aye.
That's not really what I'm nervous about, actually.
What are you nervous about? What the? Wales. I'm from Wales. But fantasy Wales. What are you nervous about then? Come on, words aren't for mincing. Meat is.
This might be the last time we see each other.
I see, is that kind of serious?
Yeah, well, we've lost people on this thing, and this last part's not going to be the easiest bit, is it? So I figured, even if I do come back, I'll probably be your captain again, or maybe not. You might want to be my captain. That's fine. But I don't think I was seeing something that weren't there before I left.
Right. Well, sounds like you've got something very important. And I'm not going to tell you not to do that, am I?
Nope.
Precisely. Blinks a little bit, and then you hear, like, semi-muttered, "Come on now, sir. Point of a ship is to keep the salt water out."
Oi.
Well, I may be the captain, but this ship, and its contents, if anything will help, is at your disposal. And if goes over, in the captain's quarters, there's a few things kind of dotted about, but there is also a chest, not kind of like a classical piratey treasure chest, but just like a flat kind of metal chest. And Atholda gets a key out, unlocks it. You'll have used this when you were the captain, but it has personal effects in. And takes something, closes it, walks over. I know you're not one for symbols. Maybe because of the whole, you are one a bit too conveniently, but if what you're saying is straight, and I've never known it to be other, take this. And it's something you recognize. It is a broken compass that you started out with when you were a sailor. And you knew that Atholda often, partially as a custom, considered it very bad luck to throw away things that were broken on ships, just as a tradition, and therefore when that broke, took that off your hands because you were going to just chuck it. I mean, it doesn't work, you know that, but something to focus on if you need a bit more help thinking of why you're doing things.
Thank you.
I don't mean to sound forward, And it is very much an open invitation, but this is apparently one of your... Do you want somewhere more comfortable than a hammock? And it's said, it's not said in a salacious way, no matter how much other people's faces may be saying. It's said, but obviously there's always been like a kind of... There's been a thing with Isolde, but you know that this isn't meant in any kind of, you know, more plutonic way.
Mm-hmm. Aye, Captain.
Lock the door. I don't want any of them clumsy lot out there coming in here when I'm trying to sleep.
Lock the door instantly.
And we'll close the curtains over that, as it were. Griff.
So, as Polaris is
asleep,
sneaking out,
Is this going to be just everyone's nighttime japes? Is that what this episode's going to be?
No. It's just like sleeping with one eye open is very much Aware's way of being. So as Polaris is making his way out, there will just be just like from the hammock just a watching this happen as he goes.
That's fair.
And we'll say nothing, but we'll kind of lie there for a second. And this is the first time since leaving their village that Aware has been in their own skin to sleep. In fact, it's one of the few times they've been in humanoid form. So this is like a level of comfortable that Aware hasn't been able to be for quite some time. And so there's this you'll see a lot of people when they think they'll twiddle things with their hands, they'll like run coins or play with a pen or something like that. Aware's version of this is that their skin changes colors and textures. So like everything through them, it's almost like cycling through all the different settings on a light. And so like just for a second there's like a tuft of the tabaxi hair over here, and then there's some scaling, and then this over here is red and that's blue, and it's just kind of playing. Just a nice little moment for them to go, my body feels nice before they fall asleep. And it's the deepest sleep that they've had in a long time.
Lovely. So in your certain locations on the ship, you all fall asleep as it begins sailing back in the direction where you came, back to Celeste, back to Moron, back to the Stilisma estate. David, can you please make me a wisdom saving throw?
That's always good news. Okay, that is a 9 on the dice, and that is a 9. Oh.
What? Is there anything that Tender normally dreams about?
Ooh, I think Tender often he has quite a humdrum sort of domestic dreams. It sounds kind of trite to be kind of he dreams about the cabin by the lake in the shadow of the mountain, you know, back where home is. But I think the dreams that he has of home are very much like looking for a lost piece of a jigsaw puzzle under a sofa, whilst Splendid is like tearing that house apart when she was like 5, and like washing up a bowl and staring out at like a heron on the lake, just weird little moments of not idyllic moments, but just like tiny little memories, and probably like just weird voices floating in and out.
So you're currently dreaming of that, and then something jolts you awake. Kind of there's a further rocking to the ship that shouldn't be happening, that suddenly jolts you awake, and you can hear a noise on the deck, and no one else is in their hammocks. No one else is down here with you. The bag of holding isn't here. And what you can just hear what sounds almost like a foot tapping on the deck of the ship.
I knew we shouldn't have put it in the bag. I left it swaddled. He gets out of the hammock, probably very clumsily, even in dream world, and just Phoebe, and just follows the foot tapping noise.
As you follow up, you see that you aren't seeing any crew. No one who you've seen on this ship before. It seems entirely empty, and as you come out onto the deck of the ship, it is bright daylight, almost blindingly so, like you've slept until noon the following day, and there is just Narisha standing on the deck, tapping her foot, looking at you and smiling. Hello, Tender.
Did they didn't leave without me, What are you doing here? Are you doing here?
Right. Do you want to have a go at a sentence? I'll let you have a do-over. I'm very kind.
Are you here?
Of course I am. I'm here, and they're there. And Narisha looks over to the coastline. And the ship is relatively close to the coast, and the moment that you look over the coast, you notice two things. One, purple, almost shimmering, almost like it's got kind of like iron filings or something in the air, kind of glistening, purple style clouds that are slowly forming over the land mass, and kind of coalescing in the air. And you can see two figures, one which is a rather muscular femme figure, but they are very far away, and one which is a smaller figure with a pair of tiefling horns, and they just seem to be walking off further inland.
Why are you here?
To save you effort. To let you know that there's no point. If you'd like further proof, and suddenly the ship is gone. You are standing in the barren lands where you once thwarted the attempts to build a part of this circle, and people are dead, and the archway that you saw, which has a magical crown embedded into it, is one of the points at which these clouds are coalescing. You start to recognize the color. It's the same color that came out when Wrath was de-incarnated into Jumi.
Point made. This is going to be difficult.
I'm surprised. Tenacious. That seems new.
We've got deals to fulfill. I got robbed of 5 years. I've got life left to live. You don't get to just do whatever you want.
That's exactly what I get to do. And then, bam, you're in a place that you don't know where it is. It seems to be the middle of a forest, but you can smell the sea air, so you know you must be near the coast. You can see another of these archways, but the stranger thing that you can see is that Hearth is standing inside it, and it looks like Hearth is attached to it, and you can still see the purple smoke coalescing around it. I get to do whatever I want. Just see if you, really want to spend your last few hours doing this. And then boom, you wake up, you are in your hammock, the others are there apart from Polaris.
I get out of the hammock. Where's Polaris?
You'll have to wake someone up, the others are still asleep.
I'm gonna wake up Phoebe. first. Phoebe.
What? It's bedtime.
You have dreams, don't you, where things happen and they mean things?
Yeah.
I've not really had one of them before, but I think I just had one.
Okay.
Whilst Phoebe is dealing with that, I'm gonna wake up aware and just
What?
check the bag, 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 check the bag.
What? So Aware will have been using the bag as a pillow. It will have been behind them the whole time, and they'll like genuinely like just kind of do this and then reach in behind and like feel, and they can feel the edge of the blanket, and then they'll flip the blanket back, and then they'll feel the edge of the egg. It's fine. It's there. What?
It's not fine. It's not there. I mean, it is there. It's.
Okay, stop. Calm.
David.
So high energy.
I forgot to tell you, you've taken, the moment you wake up, you take 10 psychic damage.
Good, I'm already playing that, so that's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just put that in.
Question, whilst you're waking people up, Jumi is also there. Do you wake up Jumi?
I do.
When you go to shake Jumi, you see that purple. You see the purple flares that you saw before, that when they spilled out of an uncontrolled circle, de-incarnated Wrath into their previous form of Jumi. And what you see now is that magic. And looking at this, you know that this is just proving that that magic is volatile, that these are after effects, these are aftershocks. And you see what you have dubbed the infinite banana, where reality seems to tear away, showing a previous version. The ship begins to shake around it, and little sparks are going off and starting to fracture little holes in the hull. You are the ones who are nearest. You are the ones who are actually aware. Ilsmidai wakes up during this, and you don't know if there is a way to stop this.
Fuck. Ilsmidai. Get away from Jumi.
What?
Is Jumi conscious?
It doesn't look like Jumi is conscious. Definitely can't communicate beyond the magic that is just currently pouring out. Again, tearing away. Suddenly there's a tiefling, tearing away. Suddenly there's an elf, tearing away.
Phoebe's going to try and cast Dispel Magic.
What does that look like for Phoebe? What's the kind of the feel, the smell, the look?
It's basically just incredibly bright light, just like trying to make a little glow, so it almost like it's a sterilizing effect, that cleaning of it, just a sort of like a
You see this kind of at the edges of this purple energy, there's these little bits of where the white meets the purple, and it goes incredibly pale, and then it's like it just gets breathed in and absorbed. I know that Dispel Magic would normally have some rolls attached, but just because of the nature of this magical effect.
So much in the exact opposite way of the tender getting out of the hammock, Aware just kind of breathes out of the hammock, and is just very suddenly on the other side of the hold from Jumi, bag in hand. And most likely, if Ilsmidai is on this side, bodily in front of Ilsmidai, like hand back, holding Ilsmidai behind them.
Yeah. As you do that, these little sparks of disruption flare out, and there are two very small holes that are made in the ship's hull because you went right down to the bottom. You can. They aren't yet letting huge. They aren't letting huge amounts in, but there is suddenly the sound of a crack, and you can hear that there's a little bit of commotion and movement upstairs. That was a sound that would be hard to ignore. Easy to ignore if you were far away in the captain's quarters.
I'm going to yell to Phoebe of just, nice try. Get everyone safe. I'm assuming that Polaris knows how to fix this hole. Meantime, fuck.
You still don't know where Polaris is.
Yeah, Phoebe takes off her acolyte robes, basically, and shoves them in one of the holes, and goes, right, everyone out. Evacuation time. 3, 2, 1, follow me. We're going upstairs. Just
I'm grabbing Jumi and casting Dimension Door out into the water.
So are you at the water's level? Are you beneath the water?
It's a panic move, so I'm guessing.
Can you roll me a d10? If it's a panic move, roll me a d10.
That's a 10.
Okay, you are 50 feet underwater. You obviously don't quite know that, but you know that you are underwater and you are there with Jumi, and you can feel the ripples, the physical ripples of the water with this magic lashing out. And again, it's quite hard to keep hold of Jumi. Can you please make me a sleight of hand? Because again,
Sure.
It's just reality peeling back years and years of incarnations, and it's suddenly gnome, suddenly dragonborn, suddenly tabaxi.
That's a 4.
That's a 4. Slips out of your fingers. But now there's nothing to have slipped out of your fingers. And the purple fades. You're still underwater.
I am going to swim up if I can figure that out.
I'd say you're a seasoned adventurer. At least you've got. Make me a. What would be for composure?
Whiz? Con?
Yeah, let's say just make me a wisdom check.
Okay,
Just a
well,
flat
I'm
wisdom
doing that.
check.
Okay, that's a 19.
Yeah, I can't remember if this is the thing that you actually do, but like you in your gasping, you release air out of your mouth, and you see that the bubbles are going up that way, and you follow up.
He canonically knows which way is up.
Yeah, this is not in character at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool.
You emerge about again 50 feet. Well, I mean, were you trying to dimension door as far from the ship as you could?
Yes, yeah.
You are 500 feet away from the Lichtenberg. Those on the ship, slightly skipping back, Tender's disappeared and so is Jumi. Also, where's Polaris? Only one of you knows that Polaris actually even walked off of his own accord.
Yeah, so again, this is going to be like, is Ilsmedai clothed?
Yes.
Okay, so grab Ilsmedai by the collar. You heard the acolyte! Up! Pushes up the stairs and like just starts exiting because water, ship, no. So going up. And on the way up trying to think. No, we'll actually say to Ilsmedai, so if you were the captain of a ship and you weren't here, where would you be?
In a captain place.
Captain place. And we'll like run towards whatever, because my assumption of shipbuilding is that the captain's quarters would be directly under the foredeck, so that it would.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The only building on deck.
That's the picture I have of ships as well.
We'll go and getting to the door as quickly as possible. Just pound on the door. So
you've run up. Can I just check, Hannah? Is Phoebe staying down by the hull or heading as well up?
Phoebe is going to, seeing as like evacuation was the order, Phoebe is on the next level up where she knows that people are sleeping and goes, there are 2 holes in the hull. Please remain calm and go as high up as you can. Thank you very much. Please remain calm.
Can you roll persuasion for me? Because you're someone who isn't a sailor, who has never worked with this crew before, and who is waking them up to say like, please, can you go upstairs?
What was the
persuasion?
Persuasion. Okay, that's an 18.
Okay. In there, I think they understand that you were brought here by Polaris, and they don't fully understand what your deal or your position is. However, like, they've been drilled before on emergency scenarios and such like. What happens is most of them do go upstairs, but some of them go to investigate, to try and mitigate the damage, to try and see what they can see about the hull of the ship.
Yeah, Phoebe's going to go back down with them.
Okay. Okay, well, then if you can do stuff, come on. And you run with them there. Would you be doing anything, like, magically or such like to aid them in this?
I mean, I don't know what I could do. I think at this point, Phoebe's kind of run out of good ideas. Like, the panic is starting to set in, especially having been quite rudely awoken earlier. And so it's I'm an extra pair of hands. What would you like me to do?
You're one of. Can you fix stuff? You're a cleric type, right? You fix things.
Yeah, people. And Phoebe's going to like frantically think about what she can do. I mean, again, restoration and stuff is for people, and like the other thing she does is fire, which is bad. So
you may have one thing, but I'm just checking because I don't know the mechanics of it. It would also it'd be a bit of a risky move, but okay.
There's a cantrip that might be useful.
Well, the thing is, mending is by the inch, if that's the one you're thinking of.
Really?
Mending, and it takes a minute.
Mending.
It takes a minute to do like a very small section.
Okay.
I think it's by the inch. It might not be, but it is. It's one where it's fine if it's like repairing bits and pieces of clothing, or you've got more time.
Yeah, I also don't have mending. I gave up mending.
Do you have stone shape? Is that one you've got prepped?
I don't think so. I think I gave up stone shape for banishment.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. In that case, what the individuals start doing is basically using you as a literal extra pair of hands to hold items. And one of them does have like very small magical abilities. And I'm just going to roll to see how they do. Okay, 16 on the dice. Starts using basically an equivalent of stone shape to start just shaping objects and merging them into the hull. Like, it is a stopgap, and it's going to make the hull very fractionally heavier, not hugely, but it is going to throw off the balance of the ship a tiny bit. But it will stop things. So whilst you're fixing the hull down there, Griff, where is up at the captain's deck?
Yeah, just banging on the door as hard as possible. And is saying captain, is not saying Polaris.
Yep. Okay. Tom, do you think that Etholda has rolled low enough on the con check to be woken up by that noise? I'm happy for you to roll if you want, or if you know like how light a sleeper Polaris is.
Yeah, I think given the situation, he'd awake.
Cool. I assume you and Etholda were sleeping in the same bed. Etholda leaps out of the bed and probably just puts on like a long shirt on top of whatever else she had on. What? And then opens the door. It's one of yours.
Can I roll a perception to see if I see Polaris?
I mean, like, what's your passive?
10.
Oh, okay, your passive's not. You're active. Are you actively looking for Polaris, or are you looking for the captain?
No, well, in my head, those are the same person.
Okay. In that case,
the whole boat captain thing doesn't.
Roll
Polaris
perception.
is captain.
Ship.
Roll perception.
That's a nat 20, and I don't know what my add-ons are.
You see that. You also see like anything that suggests the dynamic of the stay in the room overnight.
Okay. We'll take that in and
make eye contact.
Yeah.
You just like look in and you're just immediately going.
I see the deer, I see the headlights, I see it all. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely register that, but we'll not respond to it at all. It's problem in the hold.
Polaris gets out of bed as well.
And then once Polaris is like engaging in the process, we'll like look around and go, Jumi pulled a wrath and now things are weird.
Weird how?
Ah!
What's going on in the hold?
Holes in the ship. Holes in the ship.
Etholda
I look to Etholda because like
Etholda starts pegging it, just starts going straight down. There's a nearby kind of stairwell with slatted steps that will take you down to the hold. It's probably about this time that you're going down that a lot of the members of crew are coming up to the point where actually like Etholda can see that they're going up, which makes sense. But they will just be congregating on deck because they won't have anything fresh to do. And we've also established that there are painfully few small extra boats lashed to this massive ship. But you run down to the hold where Phoebe is in the middle of helping. Ilsmedai is just kind of following and staying close by. Tender and Jumi are nowhere to be seen. Tom.
Can I say rather than running, I'm gonna like I think I pull on my breeches and that's about it, and then run out to and then I'm like I look at the look down the stairs, and I'm like, oh, this bit actually hurts, and then I'd like to just like briefly become water and fall through the ship because it is the fastest way for me to get through the ship. If you'll allow that. I'm not saying you now have to say that I can do that whenever I want, especially in combat. But
exactly.
He knows how to get around his ship thing. It would be one of the things he'd learn to do.
I am happy to allow it in this instance because it's some beautiful flavor. However, I am not giving any kind of permission to if I'm like, how are you gonna get out of this room? And you're just like, blub, 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 blub. Like, that won't fly.
We can do it. It's actually extremely dangerous, but I know the exact arrangement of the planks after years of...
Yeah. And David, Polaris has his breeches on. And as we've established with Polaris's mini, unfortunately I don't quite have that hand, Polaris typically is shirtless. So it's not the biggest difference, and Etholda has a long kind of generic nightshirt on.
Wait, do your breeches come through as well?
Yeah, your breeches made of water, or are you just
flying free?
I was thinking the principal would he'd grab his breeches and realise if he couldn't do this otherwise, he would just go down naked. If it like that would be the problematic thing. However, the bones precedent is that if things can pass through his hand and like phase around it, and maybe his clothes are kind of... He's descended from a god. I don't know. That's...
You can't just go like, I'm descended from a god.
on.
That's why I'm not naked. That's not a thing.
If you need backup here,
I get one leg into my breeches, and then I'm like, I have no time, and then take them off, and then...
Okay.
Look, Aware is going to know what it is to not be able to have the clothing with you.
Yeah.
So if that happens in front of Aware will grab the breeches and come down.
Okay.
You're going to be naked, but not for a long time.
Teamwork. Project managed.
Thanks, Aware.
Okay, so you arrive in the hold. As described, Jumi is not there. Tender is not there. There is a small pool of water that is forming, but there are a couple of crew members, one of whom you recognize as someone who is basically a kind of magical engineer, are dealing with it. It looks like they're able to patch something together that's temporary with Phoebe's help. Etholda is basically going over and overseeing and making sure that it's okay, but is doing the mental calculations of how much longer can we go before we need to call into harbour, call into port, get proper repairs.
I too, I would be... My first thought would be, are the carpenters that I know about here? And presumably they are, because those people who Phoebe ran into have run downstairs. Polaris would then go over and start looking at the holes. Bless you. And look at the holes that are coming... I guess... How big are these holes? Are they...
The holes, because I rolled, they weren't like massive. They're probably like just half of a face. So it's easy enough currently to cover them up, but there's potential worry of structural stuff, because the moment that you've got a crack, it won't take much to increase that crack and to fracture further along that part of the hull. You also notice that there are scorch marks that seem magical in their nature that seem to have caused these holes. Make of that what you will. You don't know if it's a targeted attack. This looks like it was done by magic.
Was this... Were this Jumi? Weirdness?
Yeah, just started smoking purple and then holes in the ship.
Where's Tender?
I don't know, but I know that Tender can't go far, right? Unless someone's teleported him out. And I can't swim, so I can't get outside and check.
I look at Etholda with a like, you've got this look. With the like ... question mark of like, this is where you tell me to stay if you need me, but it doesn't look like you do.
Mm-hmm. You don't get a response.
That face, that regular everyday facial expression.
that face, resting ... face. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, in which case, yeah, I think.
Before you go, Tender mentioned something about the egg being gone, but it wasn't. And then something about how he'd had a vision. I haven't heard shit from Dad, so,
Is the egg safe?
The egg's fine. He had a bad dream.
I don't know.
We turned into an exploding purple bomb.
Pretty much.
All right. If there's like a crack around these like bits of that are kind of they're having to keep reseal it.
Yeah.
Or like pick a moment to go and then get out into the water.
I said you could go through stairs, but I said if you were going to try and get out of a place,
that's fair.
You can't get out of like a.
Fine.
I'm going to say that there are certain things like your eyes aren't pure water. There are certain tiny bits of you that are bigger.
I will go up as many floors as I need to find a place that I know I can jump out of, which would probably be a cannon port on the lower gun deck or something.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Get yourself out of a cannon.
I'm still naked. No, I'm not naked. I'm now clothed. I've put my breeches on.
In the meantime, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm not being blinded.
I'm going to britch my way up the stairs.
At the same time, David, Tender has appeared at the water's surface. You kind of do a little bit of orientating, and you can see that the Lichtenberg is about 500 away. Still no sign of Jumi. There's kind of these purple tendrils that are just dissipating through the water. What would you like to do? This was harder on your lungs, by the way. This was the first time you've been kind of having to really exert yourself physically since the aging. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you feel that.
Man. So I'm going to take a lot of breaths. You say that there's purple tentacles?
Sorry.
Energy?
Just
energy, like...
Tendrils, yeah. The remaining energy that's dissipating now.
Whilst treading water as best as I can, I am going to, search the water, if you know what I mean? Like, almost like just look and see if I can find any sign of life or anything, because I know that Jumi has essentially disappeared. But if there is, and I'm very aware that they were de-incarnating the whole time, but I'm going to at least kind of just look around and see if there's anything there.
Sure. If you are keeping yourself above the water, it'll be rolling perception with disadvantage. But if you actually try to exert yourself and go underwater, you can do it as a straight roll, but it might then have knock-on effects in terms of just like breathing and athleticism.
He'll take a big deep breath and go under. He rolled an athletics, right? He rolled a 14.
Perception.
Yeah.
14 on perception.
Yes. So on perception, actually, he rolled a 14 on the dice. Perception is where are you? It's a 15 altogether.
15. Okay. Kind of with the water pressing against your eyes and stinging it in that way when you hold your eyes open underwater, you look around. There isn't much life here just because you're quite near the surface. You are far out from the coast, so you wouldn't expect to see much in the way of fish or such like here. What you do see is you see one final bit of purple energy. It's the only one you can see here, and you just see this final piece of purple disperse. And whilst those of you who are on the ship don't know that it's this point when it happens, all 4 of you take 5 psychic damage at this point when it just out. those of you on the ship, Polaris, this happens like about the time when you get up to the little cannon port, and you just feel, and again, it's you don't know how, you don't know why this is the exact way that it feels, in that way that some things that are abstract just feel like a very certain way. It feels like at the very back of your head that someone somewhere just within your mind has torn a little piece off. That's how the psychic damage feels.
So I take, what was it?
5.
Thank you.
And just to kind of add an extra little bit, if he's diving out of the water there, I am going to cast thaumaturgy on myself if I come back up, and just be very loud.
What do you shout?
Because Tender's fear of open water will come entirely from me. The idea that you're like suddenly like away from a boat that you were supposed to be on, and there is nothing but open water and just a sea full of sharks, is just gonna just shout, "Ahoy! Ahoy!"
So before we check whether anyone can feel that, I would like all of you to roll me a d6.
Ooh.
That's a 6.
Okay, Hannah, for the next, I need to roll a dice to see exactly. For the next 6 in-world hours, you have disadvantage on charisma checks. Tom, you rolled a 2, disadvantage on dexterity checks. Griff, is that a 3? Your hand's half an elf out. Is that a 3? Chloe says, holding up 4 fingers.
No, that's a 3. This one.
Wisdom checks you have disadvantage on. And David, what did you roll?
6.
A disadvantage on charisma based checks.
But that's my thing.
And again, this isn't something that you all can feel, but it's just you feel thrown off balance. That kind of slightly ill or strange where you can't put your finger on it and there's nothing concrete enough to hang its hat on, but something feels off and something feels very, very strange. Tom, feel free to roll perception for hearing Tinder.
12.
I think you can hear, you don't hear that it's ahoy, but you hear a sound in the direction of it. And there's not much to obscure. It is kind of, it's early morning, like there is light and there is very little else in the middle of this sea.
Yeah. How far off was he, sir?
About 500 feet.
Oh, of course. Love that spell.
We won't do this in like a turn order. I'm not going to be like, can you please about 8 times do a check?
I think it's like the first. Oh god, I've just remembered what happens when I get in the water.
Has Polaris remembered, or is Polaris focused on helping Tender?
I don't think Polaris has forgotten his foundational trauma, Chloe. No.
I just, a lot has happened in the last like 5 minutes. That's all.
A lot has happened, but no, he's just had a call for help. Like,
yeah,
let's go.
And
he's got a plan, but we'll see if it works.
Yeah, you've been able to kind of suppress or change that a little bit before. So what's your plan?
500 feet. I will ask you, but I suspect the answer is no. 500 feet seems like too long a range for a rope, as in for a rope to be that long. I obviously wouldn't throw it, but it's like a 500-foot rope would be insane even on a ship of this size.
I'm going to say you don't have a 500-foot rope.
Any rope of that length would be in use.
I mean, you could find 10 50-foot ropes, but
This seems like an excellent time.
No, in that case, Polaris just dives into the water and starts gunning it. I think, have a swim speed equal to my thingy speed because I'm a water genasi. So
yes, and if you dash, then that's doubled, so you're going like minimum 60.
Yeah.
Can you please roll me? I'm gonna say it's gonna be a con save. I can't quite remember mechanically what we did last time, but because you ended that session having been able to suppress a little bit of your electrical powers.
Right, I did. I've rolled a 21 on the con save.
Okay, so you can feel the electricity building up inside of your form, but you're able to it's that feeling of increasing that surface tension almost. So you're not quite at one with the water, but you're able to keep that within. And you're able to do that, especially with a 21, until you reach Tender. Tender, you can probably see. Tom, exactly what does Tender see in terms of approaching? Because it's just some water in water, to be honest.
It's a big old. If you imagine, okay, to speak in very David Alwyn terms, imagine you're in a video game and a speedboat is coming towards you, but then, like in The Sims, where you can pause and then move objects. What I've done is I've reached in and pulled out the speedboat, but the animation of what the speedboat was doing to the water remains coming towards you. So there's just this weird thing of as if it was being made by a big propeller, or indeed a being going like that. It's surging towards you with big white froth. And yeah.
Tender is going to try and swim away from that.
Okay. That's fair. Your swim speed, you took the more athletically draining option earlier of checking underwater, and your swim speed is easily half of what Polaris is. So you can, but you will be struggling, and you'll be conscious that this thing is much faster than you, and it is gaining on you very quickly.
I mean, this is mainly for color. I don't want to not be saved. I will just be he'll be doing the back away swim rather than turning his back on it. He doesn't want to turn his back on it because it's a thing in the water that is coming toward him. He was doing the kind of squid
You're
thing. Sculling backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that it catches up with me pretty quickly, because that's not the fastest way to swim.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I actually do if it's me again, I will go past him, trying to avoid him being at risk from me. And then I would like to cast. Actually, I don't technically get past him, but I do. I'd like to cast Shape Water.
Okay.
Which I've got as a free cantrip because water person. And then I would like to change the flow of the water around him instantaneously. It does not cause enough force to do damage, but that, to my reading, suggests there is some force. Therefore, it starts propelling him that way, and it's going to make it easier for him. Effectively, I'm going to keep doing that every 6 seconds.
Yeah, because you're going to need to do a new 5-foot cube
so
each
he can
time.
pretty much doggy paddle, and the current will actually be taking him back as long as he can stay on the surface.
Is there any point?
Chasing me back to the boat, and I'm just going, no, away from this.
Get away from me!
Really fast.
I'm crying for help.
David, can you make me a perception or an insight check?
It's a good one. That is a 22.
Okay, that was just to check that you recognise that this is Polaris rather than just some amorphous strange water force or a water elemental or something. But as the water starts to shape around you and help push you back, you are aware that this is Polaris helping you back to the ship.
Okay. As he is then kind of basically just doggy paddling back. He's not a particularly strong swimmer. It's just functional. He's going to, with I guess thaumaturgy still on his voice, trying to talk to Polaris. I think we've got their attention. I think they've got Jumi and Raph and everyone they ever were, and I think they can kill us really, really from a distance and badly.
Well, we're still here right now, so
yeah, I just don't understand why.
So, whilst you try to have that deep lore-involved conversation, as one of you is gently egged along like a lazy river ride, and the other is just a visual glitch in the water behind them. Back to Phoebe and Aware. You have just Polaris has headed off, but at exactly the same time, there's been that psychic damage. There's been that weird little tear, and then there's been that feeling offset. Nothing around you has visually changed. Ethelda now seems to be in charge of. They're using kind of various types of things that you don't quite know, some mixes of some kind of glue / grease / sealant to help with the fractures that are starting to form, and that seems to be in hand. But Etholda no one is currently paying any direct attention to you because it's either there or there are people upstairs, but the crew up there don't really know what to do currently.
I think Aware is probably just going to assume that this feeling is one of having been woken up out of the only good night's sleep they've had in a week by somebody turning purple and somebody else screaming about something that's very clearly not real.
Okay.
And so, like, the oddness of it probably won't register outside of the general oddness of life right now. But Aware will turn to Ilsmedai and kind of sotto voce, but definitely loud enough for Ilsmedai to hear, go,
Mm-hmm.
If you had to, how many people could you carry?
I'm gonna ballpark this. In terms of how big you are, it's more of a strength thing, I guess. 4? I've not tried. Now?
No. I just, if the ship goes down, I didn't want to go down with it. And like, that really is as far as they've gotten at this point. It's like, found captain, boat not down, boat down, boat not down, boat down. The rest of it, there is nothing. Like, this is so far outside of anything that they do that outside of, I don't know, escape dragon, they've got nothing. That lack is probably registering on their face, by the way. If Phoebe is paying at all any attention, Aware probably looks a bit nonplussed.
Where's Phoebe at right now?
I think Phoebe's a bit miffed, to be honest, at this point. For the simple reason that visions are her thing, for a start. She believes Tender completely. Like, there's not even a shred of hesitation that dream wasn't real. Tender, for all his various flights of fancy, tends not to be making this sort of thing up. I think the fact that Jumi's disappeared, Tender, the person she's known the longest, has also disappeared. The fact she didn't get contacted by her dad, which is so annoying. If it was a real vision, what the fuck? And then what is recognizably probably to her psychic damage, because she is used to doing psychic stuff. She's pretty annoyed. And it's not like she can be useful right now because the people who are in charge of fixing the ship are fixing the ship. And Polaris, who'd probably point her in a direction to unleash that anger productively, is gone. And Aware looks confused. So it's like...
Ilsmedai, having heard this from Aware, turns to Phoebe and just goes, You're the one with plans. What do you think? Sorry, I assume you do the plans. They said.
Yeah, like the person who's on the first day out did the plans. Yeah, that's mine. Anyway, yeah, sure. Okay, plan. We wait for Polaris to come back. Hopefully Tender's fine. I don't know, I'll ring my dad. I'll message my dad and see if he's got anything to fucking say for himself. Sorry. And then just sort of goes as far away from everyone as possible, whether that means literally climbing up to the crow's nest, like literally needs to do something with the energy, just getting as far away as humanly possible.
If you go up to the crow's nest, there will be someone there because there's always someone in the crow's nest. Alternatively, you can kind of go up to the upper deck and like right to the rear of the ship or something like that.
I guess because I know that no one's in the captain's quarters, I'm just going to go back to the captain's quarters because it's a place where no one is really supposed to be, and it seems relatively private to have a little meltdown.
And with this meltdown, you said you were going to call your dad. What do you? How do you try to do that?
I think that at this point, Phoebe is. Yeah, I think Phoebe's freaked out enough that she's going to try and use her undergod power, which is to invoke a vision, as to get some sense of what is going to happen to the people she cares about, what she should be doing. Because if she's the one who's supposed to be making the plans, and maybe Polaris has gone too, she needs some sort of foreknowledge.
You try to use your power, and at first the vision shakes in a way that you've not known them to before. It's harder to focus, almost like a lens, on what's happening. I mean, they're often abstract and strange, but this feels slightly different, like you're reaching for it a bit further in the distance. And the only things that come through, you see, as you try to focus on specifically yourself and the others, you see all of you entering into flames. And you hear again just the words repeating, ghostly tale, the ghostly tale, and then the word seems to reverberate in a very strange way, like the letters are separating and getting lost from each other, and it's the vision equivalent of being on the tip of your tongue of where those letters should sit and what they should say. But again, it goes out, and you feel that sickness, and you feel that offset again, and you know that all you've come away from is some rearranging of ghostly tale, and all of you walking into fire, and a snuffing out of a light. And as that snuffing out of a light brings you back to the ship, it's at that point that Tender and Polaris reach the edge of the ship, come back on board, and that is where we are going to take our halfway break. So we are going to take a 10-minute break, just to have bio breaks, to get some tea, etc., to get our heads all sorted, because that was a lot to happen in world just a few minutes. And then we will come back to see exactly how everything shakes down after that. So we will put a little countdown on for 10 minutes, and we will see you shortly. Bye. Hello, welcome back. David trying to do like the laughing.
I'm doing it that time.
Well, we forgotten. We didn't tell a joke to lead into it, so I wasn't expecting people to do just solo laughter. David's been playing with sound effects.
How did you get that out of a stringed instrument?
Anyway, we return to the Lichtenberg, where David and Tender, Polaris and Tender, reality just tearing, suddenly Tender becomes David. Tender and Polaris have just returned to the ship. Phoebe is in the captain's quarters, and Aware is still just below decks with...
So as Phoebe was running out, Aware would have gone, oh shit, Phoebe set things on fire when she's upset, and would have followed as closely as possible. But there is a universal language of a teenager slamming a door, and would have respected that.
And you, like, there are some kind of, there's slightly curtained, but if you needed to, you'd be able to see that Phoebe was not setting anything on fire in there. And Ilsmadai is just kind of, again, awkwardly standing next to you, partially because you have the heart of beasts. The crew do turn to you because you were the one who said you heard what she said go up, and they're kind of, someone approaches you and just goes, hi, what's happening? Do we need...
Everything is under control. Your captain has things firmly in hand, and should she have further orders, you will be the first to know.
Persuasion. This is so far a very trusting crew.
15.
15. Okay. Okay, and just returns and starts spreading a general thing of like, okay, everyone stay, look lively, but we'll just wait to hear from Isolde. That's all right, she's down. Yeah, okay. But they're still kind of congregated on the deck currently, with some people who were doing their job still doing their job whilst the ship was sailing overnight. Tender and Polaris either lift or haul their way back onto deck. And you can see Aware stood there with Ilsmadai, bless you. You can't see Phoebe.
Wait, sorry, Tender can't see Phoebe?
Nope, you cannot.
I guess my main thing would actually be making sure Tender's okay.
Yeah, if they're coming over the side of the ship, Aware would immediately be with them to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
Where's Phoebe?
Jerk a thumb back to the captain's quarters.
How's the leak?
In hand, I think. They're putting things on it, sticky things.
Tender's going to run towards where it's being pointed and calling back over his shoulder, just going, "They can unravel us. They can do things. We're not safe."
It's gonna point at Tender and look at Polaris. Is he okay? What is happening?
I think whatever happened to Jumi, I think Jumi's gone. By the way, I think he thinks it can happen to any of us anytime. That those people who want us to not do what we're going to do, that they can do it whenever they like.
Did she?
Why didn't they do it to all of us then? Is what I'm saying.
Did she? Wrath?
I wasn't there, but it seemed that way, from what you told me.
But they didn't do that. Not to Wrath, anyway. And we'll look at Ilsmadai as though Ilsmadai is like the
You're right.
harbor of all things arcane and must have answers.
I didn't do anything, Ilsmadai says with that look pointed at them.
Wrath was you're right, Wrath was just there.
Yeah, that wasn't, they would have done that before. They can't do that. That's not them. This is very clearly trying to reassure themselves that this is the case.
David, Are you kind of knocking on the captain's quarters door?
Yeah.
This is after the final light has been snuffed out. And you can hear this, Hannah.
Phoebe flings the door open, sees Tender is fine, and just gives him the hug of a lifetime. Just like, oh, thank fuck.
He immediately, he really returns the hug. And like just holds the back of your head and just holds you very, very tightly into the kind of the crook of his shoulder, and just goes, okay, then it's just Jumi. It might be because maybe it happened to them before, or maybe they were unstable.
You need to tell me exactly what you saw, in the order you saw it, or heard it, and I'll do my best to try and do some more interpretation. But I believe you, and something's not right. When you disappeared, and Polaris then went after you, something's not right with my head.
Yeah, I think they might. Well, we've got them worried. That's something, right?
Cool. Everyone's worried now.
We're on their radar, which means we're either doing something right or very wrong.
Okay, but head count, everyone's here apart from Jumi?
It's about this time that Ilsmadai, next to Aware and Polaris, just goes, should we gestures towards where Tender has gone and where Phoebe is? You know, everyone together in case something happens.
Aye.
Yeah. And walking over, if I can do an Arcana check.
What are you checking?
Basically, if the infinite banana unpeeling concept, if there's anything that I know about this. Now, the thing is, I'm willing to take my old Arcana check on this because I tried this when it happened to Wrath, and I knew nothing.
No, that's like, you've been exposed to a little bit more stuff and your mind might have processed things, so make a fresh Arcana check. I'm not going to make you rely on a check from several days ago.
18.
18. There were conversations post what happened to Wrath regarding incarnations, de-incarnation, reincarnation and such like. And what was very apparent when this happened to Wrath initially, this was just, I don't want to say wild magic energy, because obviously wild magic has a very specific connotation in D&D, but loose, chaotic, untamed energy that came out when one of these special kind of henges was broken. Mm-hmm. And magic was just flaring out and caught Wrath in the crossfire. So it's not unreasonable that this is just very chaotic magic. That's kind of, you know that it seems to be linked to time, to reversal of time. De-incarnation seems to be a thing because people have talked about, like Celeste has basically said, like, oh, it's great because you don't know when you've come back, in reference to all of you as Undergods. So that, I think, is kind of, unless there's any other specific thing you're looking for, I reckon that's what you kind of piece together in just a rough reflecting on this magic and what you've seen of it.
One other question then. If I've connected the idea of this being a chaotic magic or an undirected magic or an accidental magic, is if my god has anything to do with it. Being the undergod of chaos and evolution and change, am I looking at my god somehow punishing the party or being displeased with what we've done?
From your experience of your god, because what we've seen so far of your god is creating a kind of marble run effect by lifting up a little case in a room and sending this thing going, which knocked like a kind of slightly just more improbability than full-fledged magical chaos, and the creation of the greatest pastry in the world inside your bag of holding. Your awareness of Razun's form of chaos, it's not, there isn't a maliciousness to it. It's not targeted in the same way that this magic seems to be. if it
Unmaking
were your
isn't their
god,
style.
it is deeply uncharacteristic and very different to what you've seen before. So, are you all gathering in the captain's quarters?
Yeah, can we use the nice boss room? We need space.
I think I kind of go in first and like kick my coat and stuff like under the table.
Well, it is Phoebe ran in there.
Okay.
So-
But I'm just gonna be trying to like kick any bits of my clothes that are lying
Roll
around.
stealth.
Yeah.
Roll stealth
Disadvantage
because
on
in this
dex.
in this high stakes moment, you need to make sure that people don't know what you did last night.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lovely roll. Now let's see what I get with disadvantage. Hey, it's one lower. I've rolled a 19.
Oh wow! Even in your slightly dazed state, you do, and like I don't think anyone has a passive that's as high as that.
I know.
Well, yeah, Griff.
You just know. You have the facts.
Aware got it, but it's part of Aware's job is to read people.
1 point off, I would have got it.
No one else notices as you just kind of tidy away.
I think that if Polaris comes in, he'll find Tender already kind of like sitting. If there is a table or a desk or something, Tender is very much trying to engage with Phoebe at this point because he needs to have this deciphered. So if there's a table, he'd kind of be sitting in a chair,
Sure.
like just looking at her, like probably in the captain's chair without any idea of what that means.
Sure. Yeah, there's probably like a small table with a kind of captain's chair and also a couple of other chairs or bits and pieces that you can sit on.
And he will just be saying to Phoebe, so they were there. It wasn't like a vision. They were talking to me.
Who's
And I
they?
don't know why me. Sorry, Chloe, I can't remember the name.
Narisha.
Narisha.
Okay, so
I was in the boat, which makes me think that, well, they know where we are. If they were in my head, if they could see what I could see, but they might not be that they could see what I could see because
Okay,
my
stop,
eyes
stop,
were
stop,
closed because I
just-
was asleep.
okay, just okay. I know it's weird. It's weird. Just literally what happened when you were having this dream or this vision. So Narisha was there. You were in the boat. What else?
The others were on the shore. The other Deathless.
Okay. And were they in the same place? Could you recognize the shoreline?
David,
Yes.
roll insight.
That is a 12.
Okay. When you say it was the Deathless on the shore, you wonder if you're misremembering the dream. One of them had tiefling horns, and one of them was more muscular than. But it just kind of nudges at you.
I thought it was them.
What did they look like?
One of them had tiefling horns. One was a very muscular. Oh God! Can I roll to have the wherewithal to know who I'm talking about now?
I think
Did
because
I
you,
not recognize them in the dream?
because I think you've realised now. You can realise.
Yeah. And he stands up and just does immediately casts sending to Cal.
Okay. What's the message to Cal?
Are you safe? Get safe if not safe. Get far. People know you and me. Get splendid. Far. Love.
That all? You've
that
got
it?
5 more you can use if you want.
Don't worry. Just get far.
Okay. keep going. It'll be a couple of minutes before you get a response.
It was Calpurnica and Splendid.
On the shore.
They were on the shore, and she knew about them, and she was pointing at them, and there was the purple stuff. With them, it was all kind of a blur. There was the purple stuff that happened to Jumi, and jeez, I'm only doing this to keep them safe. So if they
Okay.
safe,
No. You can't think about what's happening right now, what's going to happen in the future. Tell me exactly what happened in the dream. I know it sucks, but I can't help otherwise.
we were threatened. I was threatened.
With that comment of tell me what happened in the dream, can everyone, if you want to, make an Arcana check? Let me know what you got.
19.
14.
Okay, so Tender. When Phoebe says, tell me what you saw in the dream, a penny drops. Because you've never encountered it before, but because Cal's mentioned it about some of the adventures that Cal was on separately, independently of you, there's a spell called Dream. People can control your dreams, make you see things. And you remember that is, you don't know if that's what happened to you, but you remember that it's a thing people can do.
Do I know how far it can be cast away from?
Technically, I believe, I'm just going to double check. Because if I'm correct about this, it's not going to be comforting. My internet on my other laptop is frozen. So it's a touch spell.
Whatever happened in that dream, I think the only way they could have known, I've not been quiet, but Cal and I, we're not exactly public a lot. We keep ourselves to ourselves. There's no way they would have known unless they were in my head. And there's a spell, I think, that could let them get in my head and mess with my dreams and put themselves in there and threaten me, but they would have to have been here to touch me.
Right. Phoebe immediately goes, okay, not a dream, not a vision, too clear, too much information given, too straightforward. You see the person talking to you, it's not Dad. Okay, well, that's one good thing. Bad thing, got to get off the ship straight away, because we know one of the Deathless is a fucking changeling, no offense, and we can't tell who it is. And I know it's you, aware, and Phoebe does the nod and then head to the side thing, which is like Aware's and shit pronunciation of Aware's proper name. Okay. We need to get off this ship, and we need to make sure everyone here is who they say they are, including me. Okay.
Well, don't say that. Don't give me a plan and then say you might be the one who is...
Okay, well,
A couple of things. Firstly, how good are we all at swimming? Because at this juncture, that is really the only option left. As mentioned, there's only a couple more boats on this thing if we wanted to put ourselves in the middle of the sea.
Ilsmedai is hovering very much at the corner of the room because wasn't really sure whether it was okay for them to come in, but no one said that they couldn't. And they go, I can't swim, but I could help.
Oh, right. What, is it safe for us all to...
I mean, I've not tried. I'd definitely be okay with a couple.
Right,
It also depends how far.
Look, what's her name? Nirishan.
Her name?
Yeah, the person we don't trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aware, you clocked her, right? The reason we know originally that she was a changeling was
Wrath told me.
Right, because Wrath clocked her.
We can't see each other. It doesn't work like that.
Right, yeah. Obviously, it's different from me, but I feel very safe in these timbers. But if the rest of you want to get somewhere quicker... I mean, do we have any evidence that this person actually came aboard the ship?
The evidence that this vision wasn't a vision and is clearly a dream, and if you're being able to manipulate a dream like that, I trust Tender's experience, which says that someone has to be able to touch you to make that dream happen. So that means someone's here in touching range.
Tender is so sorry because he misremembered a detail of the spell, and when Cal described it, I'm so sorry. It's because it says you or willing creature you touch acts as a messenger. So actually, it can be something that projects in. I'm so sorry if you're happy to play it that way, because that's totally on me.
I think Tender having misremembered that piece of information still works. I think is just kind of somebody is messing with my head on this boat, and they disassembled Jumi. Whether they are here or not, they know we are here, and like Phoebe said, we're best off zigging when they think we're gonna zag, right?
Wait. First off, they didn't disassemble Jumi. Jumi disassembled Jumi. The kind of magic that you're looking at, it just happens. When you rip apart the fabric of causality, which is what happens every time one of these portal henges gets made, there's going to be collateral damage. And unfortunately, what we've been witnessing is a lot of collateral damage. They didn't do this. It just happened.
Yeah, I suppose a priority. No offense to Jumi, but if I wanted to take out one of us who was the most dangerous or had the most information, it wouldn't have been them.
A bad dream, just a coincidence.
You didn't dream about Jumi.
But I saw the same energy.
Where did you see it?
You saw it kind of in the sky, like clouds.
What if we've got this wrong-headed? What if something happened to Jumi, or Wrath, or whatever any of them were? This de-incarnation stuff that's been going on, whatever it is. What if the after effects of that took Jumi and happened to pop into Tender's head?
Okay, but how did it hurt my head as well?
Mine as well.
Okay, so
like
that's...
a sort of psychic explosion or something.
It did. If it makes any difference, it didn't hurt mine.
Then I think it's something to do with a henge being made or destroyed. Likely they're not destroying any.
Aye.
In which case, either way, if they know we're here, I mean, you were the captain. You want to leave all these people vulnerable to being...
You're also you're able to hear some sounds outside of people starting to move more freely about the ship. You can kind of assume that people are starting to either go back to the hammocks or focus on getting to a port or such like. But it sounds like activity's returning to normal outside.
Awara's going to flip open their bag and actually pull out the whole Heart of Beasts wrapped in the blanket and flip it out and kind of hand it to Ilsmedai and go, this is it. This is real. This is right?
Yes, I don't... What do you mean, this is real?
I mean, they haven't done anything to it. This is the same one you put in my bag.
Yes.
And, just kind of shrug at Tender.
Then the plan's still the plan. Yeah, you're right.
Wait, wasn't your plan to kind of use more of this magic? Is it this magic, or were you going to use a different magic?
It's henge magic.
We're not using the henge magic to separate your sibling. Don't worry. We've got another object to make in the henge magic. That's why we got the ring.
No.
No?
I thought we'd gone away from henge. We're using the henge to separate, right?
I trust. I know I trust you, but if the last person who was touched by this kind of magic disappeared, then I don't know if I want to try that. If
We'll
it just
talk to
means
the
that you
expert.
disappear later on.
No. We'll talk to the expert. They'll know more.
Okay.
They're amazing. They're like really, 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 really. They know everything. Like, because they're lots of people, but in one person's head, it's complicated. But they're solid. I think the plan is the plan. But if they know we're on the ship, I think we should get off the ship, because.
Before we go any further, did anyone tell Aware what happens if you touch the ring?
I thought we were all told that the
the yard, the contact who you spoke to, said that the King's ransom was here, and I think a general kind of understanding of what that was probably given.
Okay.
I mean, because we also skipped over like your journey back from Aonto to the ship, so with it in your possession, it may well have been referenced, the kind of use of it and the scale of its power.
Okay, in which case, while this discussion is happening, Aware would mage hand and bring the ring out of the bag just to make sure that was also there and that looked the way that it was supposed to.
Also looks the way it's supposed to.
And then would mage hand it back into the bag and take the Heart of Beasts back and wrap it back up and put that back into the bag.
Okay, so if the plan is either we get the boat somewhere safe, because there's now 2 holes in it, sorry, or we get off the boat somehow, whether that means needing to use your lifting abilities, Elsmedai, then that would be great. But I got another vision as well.
Same time?
No. I went off and asked for some help.
And what did he say?
Well, not fucking much. But is anybody good at anagrams?
Tender suddenly just kind of snaps and just not bad.
Great. So remember how I was saying like ghostly tale the last couple times? It's an anagram for something. Currently I've got ogle hat style, or hog
Gets
style
tally-ho.
late.
Gets tally ho. Lethal stogie.
I've double checked that it's correct. If I'm happy for either you to try and spend a tiny bit of time actively trying to work it out, or you can make rolls, because I'm also aware that watching 4 people try to solve an obscure anagram is not necessarily the height of entertainment. I mean, though it's quite fun hearing David just be like, ogre sauce.
Ashley, get hog.
I don't think it's worth Phoebe rolling, because wait, would it be int or whiz? I guess is the question.
I'm gonna say int.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it an
Phoebe's like,
investigation roll?
Sure.
All right, I will definitely roll.
Roll for
investigation.
anagram.
Loris is just going to go.
Oh, it's just a 12.
Just frown. Is that? Oh, bless you. Any other rolls being made?
I will also roll.
Okay. I mean, Tender said that he was not bad at anagrams.
Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of thing you do in a cabin by the by a lake.
4.
That is a. Was it? What did we decide it was? It was a
Investigation?
Yeah, which is an int
Investigation.
modifier.
That is a 20. 22.
So, yeah, after all those times of doing anagrams, crosswords, etc., in the small cabin by the lake, there's a word, like, I don't know if Tender immediately knows the meaning of one of these words, but he knows that he's heard of it. And for some reason, the two words that come to him over any other combination are holy gestalt.
Great. I, Hannah, know what that means, but Phoebe would have not a sausage.
So it's either Ashley Get Hog, Tally, something to do with Tally Ho, or Holy Gestalt.
Gestalt.
Bringing things
Gestalt.
together. Something made of the pieces of other things. An amalgam.
Holy.
And what Phoebe has heard in visions is you are part of the ghostly tale.
So
If it's not,
if it's
not
coming
vague
together,
enough.
if it's a coming together thing, then, and we are part of it, do we fuse? Do we become one big undergod? Do we?
Are we the battery these things run off of? Are we the crown and the sword and the egg?
The real henge was us all along.
Oh no, none of that.
Do we make some sort of henge out of ourselves? Tender just does it like a
Polaris
t-shirt.
has sort of started going like,
Ilsmedai like
Aware will back the hell away from
Ilsmedai
this.
also like steps back a bit because aware that this is not about them, but also doesn't want to
Henge
get
with
caught.
us, Aware. Don't be afraid. We have to henge.
The whole thing is that we don't henge. We are the people of the not henging.
Except we're
David,
trying to make one henge to.
you are overdue a reply.
Sometimes you have to become the henge to destroy the henge.
David, Tender is overdue a reply, and as you are saying stuff like you have to become the henge to defeat the henge, you hear Cal's voice in your head. 24 words has been told to get away, stay safe. Get away, stay safe, basically. Get far. With Len. Getting away. Have a place. You stay safe. Obviously. Don't do whatever you're doing alone. You're better with others. Love. Also, perfect 10.
Tender, like literally just like wipes a little tear and just, right, well, whatever threats they're making against me, they're gonna have to deal with Cal, and you don't want to do that. So, yeah, I think threats are empty, plan's the plan. Let us become the henge.
Are you actually gonna like become a henge? I just have
It's
to
not
check.
on my table. I can't shape into It's not an animal.
Even if this was exactly what this meant, and I'm not sure it is, we don't know how to become a henge.
Maybe we ourselves.
Feels quite close.
Yeah, maybe we ourselves don't need to make a new henge to do what we want to do. The other thing I saw is that we were walking into fire, but like, oofed.
Yeah.
What are we not?
Walked into a fire and a light went out.
And the light went out.
Well, if we see a big fire, then unfortunately, I think we know what we got to do with it.
Walk into it, yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. We can link arms or whatever.
Wait, so this thing seemed like a thing we should do, not a thing we should avoid doing? This wasn't a warning?
Oh, my one was a warning.
Your
My
was
one
a
just
threat.
is happening and going to happen. I don't know.
And
Put a shield
dipshit
around
and
us.
absentee father gave her an anagram. If you even want to be even more vague.
What can I say? And Phoebe just like goes upward and just goes, wanker!
It's at that point Polaris's face and body kind of fades a little bit and shimmers, as does Tender's, as does Aware's. The only person who sees this is Phoebe, as does Ilsmadi's. And a kind of golden light breaks into the captain's quarters. And everyone around you looks like almost the image of a gleaming Greek god, which is exactly how you have previously seen Scala, the deity you are descended from. The sounds of outside just reduced to gentle, beautiful waves. Everything feels slightly richer, slightly more beautiful, slightly more full of light. And Scala is only one being, but has kind of stepped into the shapes of everyone who is around you. And mainly it's the one who is directly opposite you currently, who just sits there. I'm sorry.
What for? Go on. Itemize list.
Right, well, I'm sorry that I couldn't tell you, and that I didn't do anything until now.
Okay, so what are you doing now?
No, that's fair. I don't deserve anything.
I have asked you pretty much every week to just say hi.
I've wanted to minimize how much I lie to you. Less time I have to your face, less lying I have to do directly to you.
What?
I never...
You're right in front of me. I still don't understand what you're saying.
Have I ever actually said that I was your father? And you reel through your head, and your mum's always said it, and maybe sometimes Scala's said kiddo, or words thereabouts, but you're really struggling to think of a time that he's actually acknowledged or said that.
I think Phoebe's just completely shocked. Just dumb. Just can't say anything. Like she's literally been a cleric for him and living up to him. And Cal, who is another devoted, like...
One of the Scalas tries to put his hand on your shoulder.
Phoebe just steps slightly to the side.
Yeah. Steps back. They all maintain a distance. I'm sorry. I really am. I can be truthful now. There is no worth in keeping up any lying right now. Not where things are.
Start talking then. Figured out your anagram.
Right. See, it's not my anagram. It's not from me. That's all yours. That's yours. I don't give you anything.
Then, okay, who am I an undergod of then? At least that way I can be asking the right person for help.
You're not so much part god as part of a god. You and, well, I was going to say the other 4, but...
Okay, so we are all aspects of a god. The manifestate? What are we?
The remnants. It's a very... Gods have their battles, but it's a very difficult thing to kill a god. What you can do is split it into tiny parts. However, I didn't know that anyone could really take one of those parts out of existence. That's why you just keep going. New ways, new powers, new manifestations of what you were, but this is... Promise me, even I'm surprised that one of you is gone.
And who were we when we were like one entity?
Your name was Telgast.
Okay. What did we do? For fun, if nothing else.
I don't know what you did for fun. You were the hearth person, the community person. That was your deal. We tried this before. If I thought that this would be okay, then I would have told you the truth before, but we've tried this.
What's this?
Being honest.
Well, I'm here, I'm listening. So what I'm good at is listening. I believe you.
Thanks. I mean, I know I've done nothing to earn it. Despite, like, gestures just at, they're the god of truth.
So, if I'm... No, it's not important.
No, go on, kiddo. Sorry.
No. Those questions can come later. Like, who the fuck did my mum have sex with? Anyway, more to the point. Why are we, community, trying to being set to stop a continent being thrust back in time? Or should we not? So that we can all become the god of community again? Or which side of the battle were you on? Is there a reason why the god of community got completely balked? You know, were they messing things up? Is it better that we're this? What am I supposed to... Okay, no. Those 3 questions for now.
The reason that you're doing this is because other mortals told you to. This isn't some kind of godly plan, though, to be honest. I'm kind of fond of things existing. Very much pro them continuing to, and I'm aware of the chaos that the magic that those fools are dealing with has unleashed. As for... Gods have their battles. I don't want you to think I don't...
Sort of like, you took my nice pair of shoes, so I'm gonna Monsieur, or is this like a you've you've eaten your own children? Like what level of godly battle are we talking?
The kind of godly battle that's abstracts over existence, over power, over dominance.
Community, the god of community was alone. That's ironic.
Those... You presented a threat because you're pretty powerful. Powerful god, powerful concept. Those who wanted you out made it happen. I don't have a... I don't not like you.
I don't not like you either.
That's something. You had 3 questions. I'm sorry, I've got entangled. Is it a good thing to do it? I don't know if you can reassemble the parts. This is new ground, and one of the parts is gone entirely. Trust me, I know one of those parts is gone.
No, I believe you. Infinite banana did seem to suggest that there's only so much peeling possible.
Yeah, you go
You'd
far back
understand if you were there. Cool. Okay, well, we have things to be getting on with. I'll just let everyone know that we're not actually descendants. So wait, hold on, before I go. 2-parter, very short. Can I contact you again? Or is this a sort of, you're not really my kid, bye, I don't need to pay, for your upkeep. Thing 2, how do you just trade off on on which of us gets somebody's power or somebody's protection?
First parter. No, you can contact me. I don't do well with lying, and so I kept things at a distance. No lying right now. So, go ahead.
Good.
The other one. Your powers have always manifested in different ways in different iterations. We figured that the best way to keep it under control, make sure you didn't somehow try to rise back up, whatever seemed to suit most. Yeah, we traded off.
So you didn't want the god of community to come back?
We didn't know what that would look like. We didn't know what that was. But some people, yeah. Some don't. So yeah, we traded off. And the only time we told someone that we took a chance, well, she tried to achieve godhood and destroyed a lot in the process.
A Tolka, right?
Well, that's the one who... The Kalaya was Atulka's ward.
Right, sorry. The one with the statue? No, you wouldn't know. That was adventure. Anyway, cool. Okay, well, thanks for letting me know. It was nice to see you.
It's good to talk to you. You don't have to just be a listener. Is there anything else you want to say?
I have a lot I want to say, but we're on a time crunch.
Okay.
And I don't know how I want to say it yet. And I want you to apologize to my mum. Because she's pretty sure that it's not. Yeah. You go tell mum I'm sorry.
Of course.
Okay, go away, please.
And with that, just with the go away, the light fades out of the room. And it's only like a second after. And everyone else is just there. And you've just shouted wanker at the sky. And that's the last that anyone else got.
Henge, what?
Look, they've got half. I think. I got really focused on the whole threat to my family thing, but they showed me that they have half.
But we don't know if that's real or not. They could have been lying to you the whole time.
Sorry, what was happening to Hearth?
In your dream, you're
for a
saying...
moment there.
Yeah.
You're right, Phoebe.
Oh, I just got some information that's a bit important, but I want to hear what's happening right here and now. What's happened to Hearth?
I think the Deathless might have them, or at least know where they are. They showed me a bunch of stuff. Hearth was one of them. They were trying to threaten me, and one of the threats was to Hearth.
And where was Hearth?
Sort of suspended.
Yeah, kind of just like connected within this henge.
Yeah, they had become henge.
Oh, well then, that's too late. We can't get there in time, destroy a henge. Pour one out for Hearth. Sorry, I've got
You're right.
news.
Okay.
For everyone, not just for me. Had a chat with Scala. We're not actually descendants of gods. Finally got to see Scala's face, because finally they showed it and wanted to tell me the truth. Yeah, I know. Wild.
But I've...
Sorry, I why did I... Why was my puberty lightning?
Why do I see bullshit?
Yeah, why? What's the why?
The why... Well, okay, so there was a big fight for reasons of power and dominance, apparently, between the gods. And the god of community, named Talgast, god of hearth, which, haha, funny, the one who's just been henged. And the god of community, apparently we got rent, torn into pieces. And those pieces just reincarnate and reincarnate and reincarnate. But we aren't descendants of a god. We're like bits of a god, whatever's left of that one. And they're apart from the bit that was Jumi, which is no longer there. Just doesn't exist. So there were 5 bits. We were like sliced up into pie. And to keep us from reforming, from what I can tell, or figuring shit out, as we reincarnated, different members of the Pantheon decided to, you know, give us an aspect of theirs, or look out for us, or keep us distracted. I don't. But more to the point, the thing that we're fighting, the end of the world, is not anything to do with what we are. The mission which we've given ourselves is entirely ours and not any of the gods. The infinite banana peeling is a mortal concern. The Deathless aren't anything to do with, you know, otherworldly powers or pantheonic.
This doesn't have anything to do with the Undergod of destruction and their henges.
So the last time that someone tried to step to becoming a god was... I've just blanked on her name, sorry, Chloe.
That's right, Kalaya. That was Scarlett told you that was the last time they tried being honest. with any of the Undergods.
Well, the last time they tried to be honest with any of us was with Kalia. Remember, we saw a statue of her in the Atulka zone, which you were there at, Ilsmedai.
Ilsmedai, sorry, I had rolled. At the moment you started talking about something that was very obviously deeply personal, very specific to all of you, you would have been able to see this, and if you'd been concerned, Ilsmedai would have just like nodded and you would have been able to intuit, but Ilsmedai was excusing themselves from the room because felt it was very wrong to stay here, but is literally just outside, but isn't intruding on this moment.
Yeah. So the last time they decided they'd tell us the truth, that was when Kalia was knocking about, and it was very bad for everyone involved. And I don't know whether that was because they told Kalia and Kalia decided to try and reform the godhood or whatever. I mean, the only person who would know would be Kalia, right?
Tender brings out Isla.
Hi!
Hi. What's the Holy Gestalt? Have I talked about that before?
Oh, that was the thing that you said wasn't important because you could do things all on your own. You said you were good enough, and you were going to show that you could be a whole one.
Yeah, that sounds like me. It sounds like the kind of thing I would do. Does anybody, in light of this new knowledge, does anybody have any questions for Kalia? Because I might have some answers.
Yeah, I can only tell you what you told me, obviously.
Yeah. But we're very close.
The closest.
I'm just going to put you away for now. But I'll be back.
Okay. I'll see you soon.
We have that wellspring of knowledge if we want it. But it does seem like, just to confirm, that whatever Scala said to you does sound like it jives with the diary.
Yeah, and apparently all of our own manifestations of power, all the bloody anagrams, that was just not from them. That was just on my own. So, my brain hates me.
Yeah, why would you be so vague to yourself?
I have no idea.
I would imagine synthesizing the sum total of all that has been or will be might be a little bit difficult.
Or potentially in the back of your mind the thought that you were only getting part of the information because this was something that used to be processed by something that's now in 4 parts.
I'd share that with the rest. I suppose that's neither here nor there. If we do want to, I don't know, fuse, then that's something to be dealt with later. But
it sounds like that is precisely the thing we shouldn't do, if that was the problem to begin with.
Oh, it sounded like Kalia was the one who wasn't into the old fusing thing, and that was where the problem lay. Actually, using ourselves together might be a good idea. At least hanging out for a little bit longer, if that's all right with everyone else.
I don't want to go off on my own. If there's something a bit more metaphysical or formal to do, that can wait until after we're done.
Right now, we have to stop the entire world from going back in time.
And also, if any of you have heard directly from your alleged parent or whatever that they were lying, and I've just told Skylar to go tell my mum what the fuck happened.
I really thought.
Yeah,
I thought that was just figurative. I know. I thought that was figurative for you. I have parents. I'm just. I honestly thought you were just being figurative.
No.
You actually believed you were the.
Yeah.
I'm from people
progeny
from
of.
Sea. Yeah. I was always told that somewhere back down the line, my story had. Well, don't like to think too much about it, really, but yeah.
I have brothers, sisters, siblings. There's many of us.
Okay, right.
It does sound like that you probably do have an actual, biological
Wow.
out there somewhere, but forget them. They're clearly
Dead.
even more.
Yeah, dead.
Even more. Dead, or even worse than the man who lied to you about being because they just never were there ever, and probably really messed up your relationship with your mother. I mean, for her to lie to you about that, because she definitely. I mean, unless she doesn't remember, that's a whole.
Is this really the time?
Somebody.
Someone stop Tender from talking.
I've got a little bit of a. Has anyone else got a headache?
So Aware is going to move over to Phoebe, and if Phoebe will allow it, put an arm around Phoebe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there was no discussion, no eye contact. It's just the side of Aware will now be against the side of Phoebe in whatever configuration is most comfortable for Phoebe. And Aware will go, so basically, we need to be not on the ship, getting on with business, and at some point a god.
Sounds like a plan. Being the god of community sounds great to me. I like having friends.
Tender reaches out just an arm and just kind of pats Phoebe on the shoulder, kind of from this kind of angle, but kind of leaves the hand there and just. Yeah.
Okay, Captain. Marching orders?
I would know how quickly we can sail and how quickly we'll get there to this place, right?
Yes.
Our original destination.
You might be the person who's noticed most conspicuously that Athalda hasn't come back into her quarters. It's probably a mix of sorting things out because there are going to be some changes of plan given the damage to the ship's hull, and also Athalda doesn't. If Athalda had needed something in here, she would have come in, but she also has enough tact to go oh, there's obviously a special thing happening
sure
in there. But you can also guess that you might be able to get back in the same time. There is the damage which will need to be dealt with because that will either slow you down or you'll need to stop entirely. You have someone who can teleport at your disposal. You have Ilsmedai in terms of potential opportunities for travel. There's the smaller boat connected to the Lichtenberg. Yes.
We need to talk to Athalda. It's her ship. She'll know how quickly it can get anywhere. I have a feeling it's going to throw more than a spanner into the works. So we're going to need to maybe consider some other options, but at least see what this ship can still do for us. There are extra boats after all. Make sense?
Right.
But we need to get back to...
Captain.
What's her name again?
Celeste?
Celeste. We need to get back to Celeste, and we need to get teleported to wherever it is we're going as quickly as we can.
Maron will know what to do as well.
Yep. You do tend to, I believe, still has unless you've used up your sending for the day.
I did.
Because you have a stone, but that goes to Splendid, so you cast sending to speak to Cal.
Which I could have used.
You've had a lot
no,
on.
I didn't use up all my send. Yeah.
So you
didn't use
have
up all my
means of
send.
communicating with them as well if you needed to from a distance.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to try and find Atholda now, then you could simply go out on deck and it wouldn't be hard to track her down.
I'd go out to do that.
Cool. She's near the fore of the ship chatting to a couple of crew members, seemingly still kind of coordinating a few things or consulting them on their ideas.
Yep.
Polaris? And dismisses the other two. You know what you're doing.
Thank you for use your cabin. Look, we've been discussing, and firstly, my apologies for what's happened to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, as you may have gathered, it's rather raised the stakes on what it was we needed to get done already.
I can imagine.
We need to get where we need to go as soon as we can, but I'm certainly not going to endanger you, the crew, or this ship by making you go hell for leather to get there. And frankly, looking at that damage downstairs, you know better than I, you might not even get there.
Exactly. If we push that too hard, then fracture becomes a break.
Quite. Best option is for us to make us not your problem as quickly as we can. I wondered if I could consult with you on, well, your opinion on how we can best do that. We have a dragon.
Oh, I'm very aware. Right.
In my memory, we never had one of those on board before, so new factor to take into account.
That's fair. This place you're going, that's your endpoint?
Well, once we're there, we're going to get teleported to somewhere.
You don't know where?
I think Polaris does know where, but Tom doesn't.
You've been told Ewalt's Gate. It's one of those places where unless you know where you're going, you can't get to it.
Ewalt's Gate. We've never been there, but the person teleporting us has.
Right.
That person is at the end of this journey that we're on now.
And they can't do more teleporting to save you journeys.
I think we talked about that. They had one left, whatever that means.
Right, magic people.
Yeah, I prefer swimming.
Question for you. You say that what you're doing is to, and drops her voice a bit, save the world. Essentially, is the gist from last night.
Nikara is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Why is your first instinct to say that you want to not be our problem? I mean, you're dealing with something that's pretty... I said we were at your disposal, and what you're dealing with is greater than this ship. Granted, I'm not here to ruin it without reason, but it is rather your habit to make sure that you're not being other people's problem.
Oi, Captain, well, I didn't dream of imposing, is all.
Right.
But I had hoped you'd maybe reach that conclusion.
We could risk it.
I could always do the, and he holds his hands up and they kind of get quite cold for a split second. And it kind of, there's a bit of frosty melting into the sky thing off them.
Aye. I'm aware.
No, that.
Oh, your friend. Will you need the ship after? I don't want to go breaking something that's going to be important in, world saving.
I certainly hope not. I don't believe this place. Well, truthfully, I don't know anything about this place, so maybe it can be accessed by water, but it's not like I can get you there and the ship with you. So no, for now, it's better to know that it's somewhere safe, being looked after, and the people on board are people I can come to rely on again, which I know they will be if they're in one piece.
Right. Then hell for leather it is.
Aye, Captain.
Precisely. Right. I'll make sure everyone knows what's happening. It'll be a few hours yet. So any things you need to get in order with your dragons and your wares and that, you've got time.
I think a lot of us still need a bit of a rest. Maybe fighting fit.
Fair.
Thank
You could put some clothes on as well, you know. Beyond the breeches.
I don't know, I thought you were... I can.
In the quarters maybe, but you're out on deck. And then goes to coordinate people.
I return to the gang. I've kind of slightly got a dumb smile on my face.
Was there anything you were chatting about whilst I'm going to say, because I desperately need the bathroom, feel free to go through any chats that you were having during Polaris being there, and also any kind of like Polaris filling in people on the plan. Is that cool if I leave the kids without teacher for like 2 minutes while I do that?
Miss, someone's throwing chalk again.
Hey, okay, I will be back very shortly.
The game is now about running a railway.
Yes! Let's sink the boat! Let's sink the boat!
Trains. Undergods.
Look, mate, you say trains, it's extraordinarily tempting.
I'm gonna find that horse winch. I'm gonna do it. This is the episode.
The implicit horse winch.
Hanging from the crow's nest.
Yes.
I don't know what conversations we're having whilst Polaris is having that.
I think it would be deeply awkward because, like, as far as aware
we're all
is
just kind of finding out we're the same person now.
Yeah, well, we're all the same person, and also minus Phoebe's dad. Like, there are many very large identity type questions that have just been raised in a very preliminary what is the plan kind of conversation. So
Yeah. If you've got any questions.
well, I imagine it would be that stunned silence, wouldn't it? Like a bunch of people going, wow,
Yeah.
it's gone down.
Oh, hold on. Wait, we've forgotten one thing.
Mm.
Who the shit's on the ship able to do psychic damage to us?
I think if Phoebe brings that up in conversation, that would be, well, don't we know they can teleport? They don't have to still be here. They could have been here.
Can they teleport lots? Can you teleport more than once a day? That's OP.
Some people can. Some people, I mean, actually was a dimension door, not a teleport, technically, what I did earlier. That probably saved the boat, by the way. Just trying to, just kind of, not to brag.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Tender is trying to say anything that isn't. You don't have a dad.
Yeah.
I think an aware is very strongly fighting the urge to go, yeah, I'm sure it meant a lot to Jumi.
What is going on here? Because I walked in on like Tender saying something like, you don't have a dad?
Tender is trying very hard not to say you don't have a dad.
Right.
But,
Very
I have raised the
He's
point that we
also-
don't know how somebody got on the ship to do the dream casting, whether that means that there's a mole or... But it has been told, I've been informed as Phoebe, that you can teleport more than once a day. That Celeste's restriction.
It totally depends on your number of spell slots or any items that you may have, that kind of thing. What happens when has Polaris come back into the room?
Has now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're looking very chipper.
No, I'm not.
Okay, insight, please.
Yeah, that's totally
I'm
fair.
going to please do a quick investigation check to see if I can see that coat on the ground.
If it's played like that, I'd say insight at advantage because
I don't need it. 25.
That one, baby.
What did Aware get?
I got a 9 on my advantage.
Aware doesn't need it
was
because Aware already knows.
True. Aware does not need it.
Yeah.
So what Aware is going to do is look
Weirdly.
where they saw the coat before it got put away. Tag it with a toe and like draw it out from wherever it's been. Pick it up.
Phoebe's
and
just going to
chuck
go
it to the captain.
Phoebe's got. Is now really the time?
Speaking of fusing and hinges, eh?
Oh,
Okay,
captain,
no,
my
you're-
captain.
I don't know what.
Somebody got hinged, eh?
Is that how we're using henge now? Phoebe says really quietly to Aware, like.
Just go with it. Just go
I
with it.
think-
We want this. Just go
I
with
think
it.
Polaris still shirtless, just like turns and walks like really face to face with Tender, and is just like, she's still the captain.
Does that get you more points? I don't.
Wait, there's a point system?
Roll insight, David, into
You know-
what Polaris is trying to communicate.
So did Polaris catch that coat, or did that just smack him in the back of the head as he turned around?
I'm happy if Tom wants to roll for catching it.
I think he does. He takes it, but he doesn't put it on.
That's a dirty 20. So I'm going to say that that tenders does that get you more points is like loaded in a friendly way.
Yeah, because the what you get, off a 20, it's like, do whatever you want with me, which is not where you were with this person 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Oh.
I don't give a shit. But we're on a deck. Well, we're not far away from other people, and come on,
Respect.
yeah,
Yeah.
fine. In which case, yes, he then puts the coats on, or to like break the moment, he starts pulling his coat on and says, "Thanks, Aware," without taking his eyes off Tender. Thanks, Aware.
Wait, is there a point system, though?
And at that, like, Aware will just kind of shove Phoebe just a little stop it.
Maybe at this point, Loris is very aware that like Tender's sort of, I know it's a particularly raw point now, but like the sort of de facto dad figure for Phoebe in this situation. So
Yeah.
just doesn't like on the question of the 18-year-old girls asking me if there's a point system is I just look towards
There
Tender
is.
and I'm like,
There's no point system. There's nothing to be. It's not about scoring. I mean, it is about score. I mean, this particular instance. I mean, there was some. It seems like score.
the captain is going to push the ship as far as she can. It looks like we will be able to get there, back to Celeste, but it's going to be a bit of a shift, particularly from me. I'm happy to do it. I'm sure you'll all muck in if we need to, but it does look like northern pirate. That it does look like we're going to be able to get some rest, because if we go into this thing teleported to wherever Yule's gate is, well, I want to be fighting fit, right?
Yeah. Does anyone need anything from me? Or should I just conserve all my spells and...
Well, the first step, I'm going to go downstairs back to where we were sleeping and see what I can do to help with this leak. That may take quite some time. We might need various people on shift, but we've kept watches before, and as it happens, it is right next to where we're sleeping. So, that's the best thing we can do.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Symbiosis later.
Yeah. Dismissed. Just autopilot from being back in the captain's cabin, and then he goes downstairs.
With that, what would you like?
Tender is just. Tender is going to grab, just put a hand on Phoebe's shoulder, and give the sending stone that connects to Splendid. Just give it to Phoebe and just go. It's only 25 words, and you have to say your name at the beginning. But she'll have better words for you than I will. And you should talk to someone. Not to say you can't to me, if that's, but this is for you. And then he's just going to walk away.
Phoebe is left holding the stone.
So Aware will look at Phoebe, make eye contact, kind of nod and shrug. If you want to roll insight, do.
Yeah, I absolutely do. That's a 12.
The intention is very much, or you can talk to me, it's okay. It's just making an opening without pushing it in any particular direction.
Yeah.
And then we'll go out and see if there's anything anybody needs of them.
Mm-hmm. So when Aware heads out, people have started to kind of get back to normal relatively and end up dealing with the ship. Some people are still on shifts and stuff. You hear someone kind of almost from beneath you, because there's a stairwell just beside the door, just go, hey, down here.
We'll turn and look and come down if called.
Just holds up some cards and dice. You're good at this. You want, we're not up to much.
And Aware will, the look is just, oh shit, yeah, and brings out their own deck of cards and fans.
It's the same folks that you were playing with on the way over, and walks you over, and there's easily a space already left for you, and just start playing. I can't remember what the game was called. But yeah, the game with the incredibly complicated set of card rules. And they start just playing with you.
Yeah, the shanked chain, yeah.
Oh yeah. Chains are worth 2 shanks, and the ante is over easy on the upside. And then if you're port side, that's a wild card, and etc.
Yeah.
Polaris is kind of helping manage the ship. Is there anything that Tender and Phoebe are doing during the kind of rest period between now and getting back to the sea's shell, the cove that you arrived from?
Tender will be Tender will be trying to stay out of sight but in earshot. Wait, sending is psychic, right?
Yes.
You said out loud.
I think message you whisper, but I think sending with a sending stone. I mean, it'll still be very, very quietly, even if it is out loud.
But both sending and sending stones, I think, are entirely internal. Message is indeed whispered.
Okay, in which case he's just going to keep an eye on Phoebe whilst trying to remain hidden.
Okay. Is there anything?
Because he doesn't want to be spoken to necessarily because he doesn't have any answers, but he also just wants to make sure that she's okay.
Yeah. What does Phoebe do?
I don't think Phoebe does contact Splendid.
Okay.
I think too much has happened, and I don't know whether she'd know how to articulate it, and the problems and concerns that she had back when she was back at the temple now seem really, really, really small and really far away. And it's like that thing where you try to go back and see a friend from high school or middle school and you used to get on so well, but now you don't know how to talk to them or whether they'll even want to hear what you have to say. And I think the biggest thing that Phoebe is kind of sat with is, I now don't have a place to go when we're done with this adventure, because her home was the temple and her job was the tree. And so now the question is, if this is over and we are not,
whatever you think this fusing thing is, yeah,
if that doesn't happen, where's she gonna live? How's she gonna make money? She's not particularly skilled at anything apart from being a cleric, and she does not want to particularly worship Scala much anymore. So I think she might actually head downstairs and tap Aware on the shoulder when it looks like there's a lull in the conversation.
Aware would look up, and whatever the hand was it was definitely better than anybody thought it was, because the bluffing had been going exceptionally well up to that point. They would kind of like look at the cards and just for a split second, and then like, too rich for my blood. Fold.
There's a small like hey from the others as like one person brings in the coin.
Yeah, like God, you guys, you've been doing this for too long. I'm rusty. I can't keep up.
Yeah, you say that after you've played 3 winches. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, for goodness sake, after 3 winches, everyone would need a nap, right? And like winks and then stands up. And goes off with Phoebe. We'll eventually get their cards back. They're
yeah.
Fucking good cards. They're coming back for those. But
when you're not working for the tree, what do you do?
Let's get one thing very clear. I've never worked for the tree.
Okay, when you're not drafted into service, what do you do?
And like it's very clear that they're trying to find a word. I'm a anthropologist.
Wow.
Have you ever noticed that no matter where we are, nobody seems to notice that I look out of place? I mean, any more than I'm supposed to look out of place?
Yeah, apart from that one time you had an ear on the front of your face, yeah.
That's what I mean. What people saw was the ear. But I didn't say the wrong thing or not know how to order the beer or not know what language anybody spoke, right?
Yeah.
That's my job. For people like me to be out in the world, we have to know that. The second you don't know, you're found. So it's my job to know things. I take them back.
Do you get paid to know things?
We all have a place. We all have work.
Do you have
Paid isn't how it works.
Do you have to be a changeling to do your job?
What are you worried about?
I don't have a home anymore. So I thought I don't want to be on a ship forever because I can't swim and I'm not interested in learning. And I can't retire yet. So I can't go off with Tender. And I don't particularly think I want to be a part of a bigger organization if I don't know who's telling me what to do anymore. And you seem relatively independent and like you have a lot of fun and like you've got family and friends and you've got a network of people you talk to and so I was, wondering if I could do what you do or follow you around. I could memorize things if that's helpful, or I could get good at, I mean, I can't change my appearance like you, but I can stay in one place and take information down. No is okay. No is I understand if no.
My people are not independent. We are one. I do what I do so that they can do what they do. What I do protects them and they nurture me. They are my home. They are me. I can't make you that. I can't give that. It's not mine to give.
Yeah, that makes sense. No worries.
But how I do what I do is my own. And when I do what I do is my own. You don't have a place now? Fine. We can find a place for you to be safe. And you will build your home. That I can help with. The question you have is the question they all have. You simply have to find your place.
It's at this point that one of the sailors you were playing cards with, that Aware was playing cards with, comes back and just goes, "Oh, wait, mate, you forgot you're here. Oh, mother, fucking paper cuts. Ah, it's gonna sting. Oh God!" And like, there's some blood in the palm of his hand. It's just, oh, take your card. Sorry. Oh, mother. There you go.
Take my cards back, riffle through real quick to make sure that blood has not fallen on any of my cards.
No. I'll just and just like, it's using his shirt just to like press against. It'll be fine.
No, Phoebe immediately is like, I can do something. And uses what's the best one? Healing word.
What do you say?
I think she like starts to use one of the chants from home and then stops and just goes, "Fix yourself." And it does. I need to roll a d4. That's so they get 8 points of healing.
You say fix yourself, and he's just like, "Oh, I mean, that's all good and well." Oh. Thanks. No one's ever done the fancy. Cheers. If you need
no worries.
something to do, we're still playing, so, but we will be for ages.
I'm gonna have a nap. Sorry.
And
sea legs.
He goes to sit down with the others. Tender, just kind of a brief question. Did Tender follow Phoebe or watch her go? Or...
I think that when Aware kind of took the reins of this kind of recovery operation, I think Tender just kind of slunk away.
As you slunk away, there was something that you noticed that was carved into just like a wooden strut. And you look at it, it's there, and you look away, and then you look back and it's gone. And you know that it was just another gesture, but it was the symbol of Melody, your deity, which is a triangle made by 3 hands holding each other. And that just... And that's where we're going to stop for today. So thank you very much for everyone who watched that with us. Thank you so much to like these amazing players for doing some really cool stuff. Yes, outro things. So, Undergods is now on twitch.tv/rollflipstream. Thank you for finding us here. There are other shows happening on this channel, mostly every other week. So on Friday at 7:30 p.m, there is DIY Film Club, where we will be recreating Hocus Pocus from home with a variety of people making scenes from that film. And on Saturday at 11 in the morning is Made Up Songs About Made Up People, which is literally, if you put on Twitter or in chat a description of one of your TTRPG characters, I'll make up a song for you with music and everything on the spot. And there's also one player ready, but the next one of those isn't for a couple of weeks. But there's all the details lower down this page. And if you follow @Mashiter on Twitter, or if you follow Roll Flip Draw on Facebook, then you'll see all the updates about those kind of things. I'm going to throw to other people for plugs. And also, while you're doing that, I'm going to roll for the winner today.
Whoop, whoop.
Take it away, David.
Yes, so I currently have an online Zoom theatre show, which is running, which I have directed, written by the wonderful James Doherty, who's written this amazing thing called Viper Squad, which is an 80s action movie interactive thing. You get put into your departments, and then it's your job to try and stop a hostage situation in a bank. There are multiple ways for things to go, and things can go very bad and very good. But no matter what, hopefully it's a fun time. So please check out Viper Squad. There are tickets on Eventbrite, and yes, just come watch that, and that's good fun.
As always, I will plug myself on Twitter @thesarahgriffin, where you will find all of the projects that I'm working on currently. Most recently, I have done 2 workshops for the Creative Collective Initiative, CCI, which are online actor training workshops. The last 2 that I've done are on introductions and analysis of Elizabethan and Jacobean text. The second half of that was done with some fantastic actors who have just finished the Merchant of Venice RSC tour. And I'm extremely grateful to Shani Erez and Yasmin Taheri for their time and their talent. Fantastic human beings. Also, the next episode of the podcast that I feature on Dreambound should be out very soon. Look into that if you're interested in more of this kind of TTRPG storytelling around identity. And any of the future projects that I have will always go up there. So again, @thesarahgriffin.
Hello, I'm Hannah. Please follow me on Twitter @Challah_OutLoud, CHALLAH out loud, because I'm Jewish and I like bread and also puns. I am a voice actor and game maker, and if you would like me to do any of your stuff, I'm available, but not for 2 weeks because I'm on holiday. The next project coming out with my voice in is from Ragged Foils. I'm doing a very spooky ghost story. So do check out their stuff at Ragged Foils everywhere on the internet. What else is there? Oh, I made a game. It's called Totally Stab Caesar. It's on itch. If you search Hannah Raymond-Cox, Totally Stab Caesar, it'll be around. Someone's made a YouTube series of it, which is wild. So thank you to them. But yeah, that's it.
I'm Tom. You can find me on Twitter @TomBlackUK, and also you can find on Twitter Jury_Games or Jury Games, which is the company that I've thrown together with some other people during this global event that we're experiencing to make rather like what David was describing, online Zoom experiences and shows that you can play from the safety of your home and interact with either strangers, or if you book them as a private experience with your friends. If you go to jurygames.com, you can see information about Jury Duty, our first game, which has been running for several months and continues to be quite successful. And if you sign up to our mailing list on that website, you will be the first to know about some very exciting news about our second game, which will be launching very, very soon. So if you like mailing lists, please get on that. And if you want to come and interview live actors about whether they did crimes and compare what they're saying with the evidence you have in front of you and maybe some twists and turns along the way, it's a great way to spend a couple of hours on Zoom with your pals, or indeed, as I say, with strangers. We do public shows and private shows. So keep an eye on us. That's jurygames.com. Thank you.
Awesome. So well done / congrats to, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Nary Fail 4. Keep a lookout in your Twitch whispers, because you have won luck, the concept of luck, the beautiful luck token and the dice from Thornless Rose are yours. And just a final plug. I'm going to plug Chaz Redhead, friend of the show, is doing election night coverage from midnight on his Twitch channel with amazing comedians like Tom Tark and Luke Rollison and Andy Zaltzman and Alex Edelman and loads of really cool people joining on there. And I think from like midnight for a lot of hours, people are doing some really cool, funny coverage of what's going on. So if you need a way of engaging with news that hopefully will at least give you some brief respites, then absolutely check that out at twitch.tv/ChazRedhead. Additionally, if you want to do any support in terms of this stream or roll flip stream in general, please do share stuff about it on Twitter, on Facebook, social media in general, and keep an eye out on this channel for new things happening. And also there is a donate button just down below if you scroll down to all of the information if you wanted to donate to help fund the things that we're doing. So I think that's enough. This has been a lot today. There has been a lot that has happened, a lot of big stuff, big emotions. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back on 1st of December with the next installment of Undergods. Bye!